My name is Scott Reister. I'm the creator of North American Racing League, also a NARL Porsche Cup driver, broadcasted live by Pit Stop TV.
Hi, my name is John Sedlak, and I race for Firelight Esports in North American Racing League. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/diesel_dad.
Hello, I am Dino Filippa, sim racer from Argentina, current champion, and I will be competing in the championship for the ERS team and also providing the data for each race for the participant drivers.
Hey guys, I am Marco Saavedra, and I'm a NARL Porsche Cup driver representing Infinite Racing Services. I'm a race winner and multiple podium finisher on the last NARL GT3 season, so I'll be working to get even better results this championship on a different car. See you all on track.
Hi guys, I am Ricardo Rico from Spain. I drive with Zenith Esports and I will be doing this Porsche Cup season in the North American Racing League. I hope you can catch with us on the Pit Stop TV broadcast and we will try to give you a good show. See ya!
Hi, my name is Lubov. I'm full-time streamer, content creator, ambassador for Master and Excel Racing. And also, I'm North American Racing League Porsche Cup driver.
Hey guys, my name's Ryan Kerr. Looking forward to racing in NARL, broadcast by Pit Stop TV again this season. This time in the pro category after last season's good result. Racing again with Mirandas. Looking forward to seeing everybody out on track.
Hi, my name's David Schwartz. I'm 36 years old. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm representing the Mirandas M Squad. In real life, I'm the 2018 D Street Las Vegas region autocross champion, also an STCA time trial winner, and I've been sim racing for about 6 years.
Hi, I am Dalton Zavidal, driver for SimCity Racing and North American Racing League Porsche Cup driver. I am the 2021 Colorado Karting Tour iRacing Winter Series champion and the 2022 Season 1 Porsche Cup Pro-Am champion.
Olá, meu nome é Jackson Rezende, faço parte da Texaco Race by TK e sou piloto da North American Race League Porsche Cup.
Hey guys, Bruno Do Carmo here from Texaco Racing by TK, Pro World Championship license back in 2017, and now I'm a North American Racing League Porsche Cup driver.
Hello guys, my name is Gustavo Ariel and I'm Texaco Racing by Tony Canan driver, and I'll be driving on the North American Racing League Porsche Cup Championship. Let's go.
We have waited 8 long months for the North American Racing League to resume their Porsche Cup journey, and finally, as of tonight, April 27, 2023, we are back. Nearly 100 drivers have signed up for this new season, and the hottest spec racing series on Pit Stop TV opens a new chapter beginning on the streets of Belle Isle on the U.S.-Canada border this evening. Welcome to Pit Stop TV. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with JP Costa back in the booth. And first of all, JP, welcome back. Secondly, With the GT3 cars put away until the fall, we can officially get a new season of Porsche Cup racing underway as you see us zoom into the Belle Isle Street Course. We've got Detroit, Michigan above you, and then down south actually is Canada. It's one of the weird spots in this country where the U.S. is actually north of Canada, one of the very few spots along the border that happens. But we're kicking things off this evening at one of the most challenging opening rounds Scott Reister could ever draw up, the streets of Belle Isle. It's going to be tough.
Oh yeah, absolutely. First things first, it's amazing to be back in the booth, and obviously, getting back to the booth with NARL race is just amazing. And second thing is, Andrew, yeah, you mentioned, one of the most challenging tracks I think on the iRacing service, and it's straight round one. Normally, I'd expect, Scott Reiser to maybe, just kind of ease the drivers into a new season, but nope. Looks like this season, is straight up to the hardest racetrack we can get, and let the drivers figure it out. And well, I'm all up for it.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one this evening. Welcome into the sim for the Detroit Grand Prix, if you will. This is a special racetrack, no longer used in the U.S. open wheel calendar, but hey, it's been here for the last few years. It's on iRacing.com. As you can see, it's a decently bland looking track if you break it down corner by corner, but when you turn it all into one whole cohesive circuit, it's actually quite interesting. A lot of quirks, a lot of different challenges around it, and I'm excited for these guys to head down Central Avenue for the first time to turn number 3, where they head onto the Fleming Straight, turn 4, turn 5 on Loiter Way, and then back onto I forget that one street name in between, but anyways, that brings you out of turn 6 onto Strand Drive to turn 7, which brings you onto Casino Way, around Fountain Drive, right past the fountain off to your right of turns 9 and 10, turn 11. I think the most challenging, certainly the slowest corner on the racetrack. That's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's 7 and 11. Really, that are the two most challenging corners on this racetrack if I had to pin them down. Although 12 is challenging as well. It's so fast but so narrow. It's a street course, JP. When you boil it down, it's a street course. All of these corners are challenging to varying degrees.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think this is one of the most challenging street courses we can possibly get. You mentioned, 7, turn 11 as well. And then obviously, I feel like for me, turn 12 was always the trickiest. As you mentioned, it's narrow, but it's so fast. You have to, be confident with the car, the setup, everything to make sure you get it right. And well, the drivers tonight are going to have to do it not only for qualifying, being the fastest possible, but also through 30 minutes of racing. And let's see who makes the least amount of mistakes. I expect these drivers, to make little mistake with the amount of practice they put into this league. But yeah, it's certainly going to be exciting.
I think the most challenging thing about turn 12 is that it's a slower corner than turn 13. So that end of the racetrack, you mostly just slow down for turn 12. You actually can sometimes speed up through turn 13. And in this car, I took some laps with AIs earlier. Granted, it's a different setup than these drivers were on this evening. But it seems like you can just about blip the throttle for 13, maybe a dash of brake, and then you're back on the throttle all the way around to turn number 1, and you're nearly at 150, 160 miles per hour by the time you hit the brakes for turn 1. It is a long on-throttle stretch, much like turn 2 to turn 3. So you can get a lot of speed around here at Detroit. Let's take a look at the schedule this season. We have a lot going on with it. First of all, this week we're at a street course to open things up, and then next week we go down to Imola for one of 2 rounds in Italy. And usually, I think Monza usually gets the Italy moniker, but we wanted to save Monza for Monza because of just how incredible that round is going to be in and of itself. We'll get there in a second, though. Barber Motorsports Park, just an underrated American circuit. The U.S. Open Wheel Series goes there a lot, has a lot of fun there. I think they're going there this week, or maybe the week prior. Anyways, they're going there soon, and it's going to be a lot of fun for them. And then, look at that, JP, a newcomer as far as our schedules on Pit Stop TV. We've never broadcasted from this track before. Rudskogen Motor Center in Norway, adding a new country to the list on iRacing. It was added back in December. Glad to have it on the schedule this season. I'm excited to see how that goes. And then Monza, the interesting thing about round 5 is we're not racing on the traditional Monza Grand Prix layout. We are racing on Monza combined without chicanes. That is the full right turning oval, the full Grand Prix course, but no chicanes. And that's going to be a throwback, and that's going to be a very interesting round for round 5. Brazil, of course, Germany, Sebring, those are a lot more tame compared to the first 5 races of the season. And then we have our bonus race for the first time scheduled into the season on July 6th. That said,
it's an amazing schedule.
Yeah,
sorry, just cut you off. But yeah. You mentioned Norway, Monza as well. I think those two tracks, Andrew, back to back, are certainly gonna throw a spice into the championship standings. By that, we're gonna pretty much be halfway through the season, so championship stakes are gonna be high at that point.
JP, welcome back. It is good to have you in the booth as qualifying opens up. You've seen it roll through for a couple of minutes and actually seen some times come in, and here we are for the first time on track this season, and we even have a brand new class guide for you as we see this brand new Rockefeller Racing livery. I like this, first of all. Love this update from Alon Harrison Car 69, but you can see the class guide on the right hand of your screen. We are not going to see the blue and pink with the yellow. We'll see blue and pink on their own and yellow on their own, but we have this amateur class included. As you can see, all of the AM drivers on track currently. Milan Harris fastest of the bunch so far. Teammate John Groom right behind. Another teammate, Ilya Speaker, in third. And then how about Brian D. Long? Well, the Wrong Stuff Racing. So a teammate podium over there for Rockefeller Racing so far on the top of the grid. We'll see how that changes over the course of qualifying. Here's Charles Jose. And one of the most unique last names I've ever seen with only 5 characters, but glad to have Charles in the field this evening. Before we get too far into qualifying, I do want to hit on a couple of main points, JP. We've got some new race details, some new stuff to talk about with this season. We only have a 30-minute amateur race this evening, but the fuel limit has been bumped up to 80%, meaning we do not expect a pit stop in this amateur race. It is also a fixed setup race, much like previous Porsche Cup seasons for the North American Racing League. It's different. It's just a little bit different, and I'm excited to see how taking that pit stop out changes things up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's gonna throw, obviously taking off the pit stop is gonna throw another strategy to the drivers. You can push a little bit more. Obviously, taking the tires into consideration, we shouldn't see too much drag. We shouldn't see a pit stop just for tires, but it's still going to be something for them to figure out. And obviously, a higher fuel load means a heavier car. So especially on tracks like this, you have to be a little bit extra careful. And that livery just looks absolutely amazing. But it's just a different throw to the drivers. But I feel like it's going to be, just a good thing for us and everyone back home watching it. Even for the drivers maybe racing, they might be more comfortable with this change.
I do want to take a quick moment to highlight one particular driver in the field this evening. Gary Weaver, who should be joining us for the pro race, is a new commentator here at Pit Stop TV, and I've known Gary for years. I've worked with him in the past at previous broadcast channels, but Gary is taking his hand at racing here, currently qualifying in the 23rd position. He's on lap number 2 for his run, and we'll see what he's able to do as he's got AMD there on the hood, Ryzen on the side, Thrustmaster on the car as well. Also got a Pit Stop TV logo on that car for next week at Imola, but glad to have Gary in the field in car 75. Watch out to see what a broadcaster can do with these guys. He's currently out qualifying a lot of cars. So clearly Gary has got some driving chops on him, but we'll see how he fares throughout the course of the evening. Up top in qualifying, though, you see Chris Sanchez, top of the board. How about a newcomer in 6th? Now 7th is Joe Nagy goes 6th, but Wendell Lira clearly boasting some speed in the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see some of these guys, just obviously a few names for me and you, but, most of the names we knew, like Billy Bowerman, just rocking with the 302. Oh, clipping the wall, I think. That's going to be a 0X. Joshua Lyon, the number 24. So a few familiar names for us, Andrew, which is obviously good to see these guys. But, it's nice to see, the battle up in the front. I thought Milan Harris was just dominating, but, Sanchez just took by storm over just less than a tenth of a second, but still a good gap. And you can see right here, McDonald, the number 13, rocking a very interesting bright red livery for a Porsche.
Some other new drivers in the field. How about Brian Robinson in car 123, currently on track in 28th position. It looks like the number for Kerry Corcoran didn't quite get added into the session, but we'll hopefully have that next week for Imola. Robert Guadagnoli sporting another kind of Chase Elliott-inspired paint scheme. We've seen that over the course of the last few seasons he's run. He's 32nd so far in qualifying, and Kleber Tavares in the 34th position. And I promise we'll work on that pronunciation as well. Some drivers not on the board yet with a minute and a half to go. Eric Letsky in car 18 for Shut Up and Drive It. You've got Justin Delgado in car 179 for Moradness. Jason Talton, a lone driver from Japan this evening. Let's verify that. He signed up from Japan, and based on the fact that there is no club logo, yeah, from Japan, Hiroshima in fact. Very cool to see Jason Talton in the field from all the way from Japan. I wonder if that's maybe somebody who moved to Japan, somebody who, I don't know if he's native to Japan. We'll have to get a story on that later in the season. Rodrigo Arantes already has some fans out in the chat, and I'm sure I'm butchering that name a little bit, but hopefully I'm close. Rodrigo Arantes. Hopefully I'm at least in that category in car 14.
Yeah, you can see he unfortunately hasn't set a lap yet, the number 14. It looks like he's attacking a few of the scrubbers, so confidence is high for the number 14. You can see him just going through. I feel like it's the slowest part of the racetrack, Andrew, especially coming up here to 11. And you can see you have to widen that turn, and then it just really closes up, and then you have to get it all slowed down, avoid the walls, avoid oversteer. We saw a few drivers, losing the car a little bit, and you can see right here a helmet can just on the side, essentially the POV of the driver, and you can see just how quickly the wall comes in on your outside, and you just have to keep your foot planted. Otherwise, you're pretty much going to lose a bunch of speed. He's coming up to the line. I wonder if this lap is going to count for him. A 133.5.
It does.
It
25th.
does. Nice. So there you go. One lap. Unfortunately, he's going to park it, so I feel like this is going to be the highest he might go.
Here's another driver that just got a time in. Skylar McKnight in car 17, 37th quick. Slowest of the bunch and a couple of seconds off of the nearest driver, but hey, he's got a time in. That means he's starting ahead of guys who have not qualified, like Eric Letsky, Justin Delgado, Jason Talton, and John Kelly. Qualifying comes to an end, and before we go through our starting grid this evening, let's take a look at our race keys. First time we're doing this, much like race details. Some interesting notes in here. First of all, for the amateurs, get a clean start. Don't buzz the tires too bad. Just get a clean start. Be easy on the brakes. Just take it easy this opening lap and get yourself into this race. That's what matters most. Of course, don't burn the tires, much like on the start. Keep those tires underneath you. You have your one set for this 30-minute race. Race the track, not others. Again, sit back, be calm, understand your surroundings, and don't push too hard early in the race, and simply learn. Get your bearings, get an idea for the drivers around you, and learn what you can do over the course of this 8-race season. Chris Sanchez on pole this evening. Milan Harris will start from second. Let's meet your starting grid. On pole, as we mentioned, Chris Sanchez there in car 3, Milan Harris from second, but then from third, John Kroom from Rockefeller Racing with Charles Jose starting from fourth. It is Ilya Speaker there in position 5 in car 06. Joe Nagy will start from 6th position. There we go. Wendell Lear there from 7th. Then Bjorn Sting from the 8th position. To round out your top 10, though, it's Brian Long, a familiar name, alongside another familiar name, Billy Bowerman. A big improvement there for car 302.
Starting from 11th place, we're going to have Adam Ballard, the number 29, and the number 24 of Joshua Lai, another familiar name for us, right alongside him in 12th place. 13th place, Avon Dorsey, the number 7, and the number 98 of Otto Rosa in 14th place alongside him. 15th place on the inside, Samuel Bernardi, the number 212, and the number 92 of Kleber Tavares in 16th place alongside him. 17th place, Keith Wilfred, the number 48, and the number 67 of William Love alongside him. And it looks like that's all we're going to have time for.
That it is, as already we're getting a quick start here at Detroit. It happens very quickly, waiting on the green flag. And there it is. We are officially off and away with this brand new season of Porsche Cup Racing. 8 races, that's the distance. 30 minutes to go in this amateur race, and we are under green. We do have one car around. That is Kleber Tavares around in turn 3, just at the end of Central Avenue to open up this season. Everybody else, though, getting on through nice and cleanly, getting through these opening few corners very cleanly. This is what you like to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like one car unfortunately just spun, but it looks like no severe damage, and you can see the rest of the field now making their way through the back straightaway, now entering the back straightaway, I should say, and making their way cleanly at the end of here, and you can see just single file through here, Andrew. So I think they listened to our pre-race notes, and it looks like everybody's just taking it easy the first few laps, the first few corners, and well, now just starting to get into a rhythm.
A few other battles further back, Philip Badurka, Gary Weaver, and Jay Robinson has gone around in car 321, back here towards the rear of the field, trying to track him down. There he is, along with Jason Telton out of Japan. So troubles for a couple of drivers early. Everybody else, though, up front, completing lap 1 here in just a moment. And here we come around to the flag stand to complete this first lap. Race leader Chris Sanchez started from pole, and he's held on to it.
Yeah, Milano Harry's not giving him much room, and you can see less than 0.2 of a second, and they open a good gap to Kroon behind. And so it looks like those two have a bit of a stronger pace early on. We're going to have to wait to see. And unfortunately, it looks like we have Rodrigo Arantes unfortunately spun around, and you can see that's huge damage to his car.
Well, out front, this leaves the battle up to the race leaders. Chris Sanchez, Milan Harris, John Kroom, your top 3, as they head through turn number 4 and into turn 5. Also a pretty tricky piece of racetrack here. Turn 5 gave me some troubles in preparation for this one, just trying to get laps in different cars and kind of explore the circuit a little bit. Turn 5 will be a challenging one, especially in this car. Very little front-end grip as, Milan Harris... I'm not sure what's gone wrong. I don't know how you get a slowdown on a street course, but he might have got one.
Yeah, maybe just attacking a little bit too much on turn 3, and you're just cutting that inside chicane, the inside curb a little bit. Maybe that was it, but you can see right there, he dropped from 2nd place all the way down to 4th. Doesn't sound like a lot, but on the street course, that is a lot of time, and you can see there a puff of smoke in the number 7, and it looks like he's trying to get around.
Avon Dorsey turned around in turn 7. He's headed backwards right now. Got to be careful how far he goes backwards. He could get a black flag for doing that. And I think now he's realized as he tries to get back turned around. Nick Pollard also off in turn 7. This is way deep into the corner as Dorsey gets turned around finally. This is in front of Jason Telton. Sketchy rejoin, and Telton was faked out by it. Skylar McKnight goes by. A lot going on in the back of the field. And here's a slow car. Matthew Chervik, I think, back onto the racetrack here, goes a lap down.
Yeah, I think he just exited the pits. You can see he is carrying a lot less speed than the competition, and the 179 of Justin Delgado looks like overshot. Is that turn
12?
Wow, I don't know. Turn 12. So looks like he went into the tire barriers. Luckily for him, it's just tires, not a concrete barrier, but looks like he has a little bit of damage towards that front end of the car. So a hectic first few laps, Andrew, for these drivers.
Well, we mentioned Gary Weaver earlier, a broadcaster here at Pit Stop TV. He's got a little bit of rear-end damage, but let's check in with this guy as he runs in the 23rd position and is just trying to get a few spots. Volker Krebs in 22nd, right ahead of him, trying to chase down the 53 car as this race gets opened up. 4 minutes complete and a little bit of change as a couple of other drivers have trouble. Brian Long slow on the backstretch, letting a few cars go by. There goes Korostecki passing him as, Korostecki goes far into the corner, way deep in turn 7, but gets back on right in front of Kareem Hussein in the 777. They sort that out in turn 8. Everybody keeps on going.
Yes, looks like turn 7 is a bit of a tricky point. A little bit of bumping around turn 11, but we saw, I think it was already a handful of drivers, Andrew, just overshooting a little bit of turn 7. Obviously no ABS, and a driver hits the wall. I'm not quite sure who that was, but he's going to be carrying a little bit of damage as Milan Harris now sets the fastest lap of the race. And you can see, I think one guy is heading straight into the pits.
That's Brian Long in the 12 car. We saw him have some trouble there, and it looks like it's going to not quite be terminal, but certainly race hindering for sure for the 12 car out of the West. And the Wrong Stuff Racing having a troubling start, at least for car number 12. Let's hope that can turn around later in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like he's still going to rejoin the racetrack, so he's going to continue. Yeah, just a quick one, quick dash, luckily for him, so he can rejoin and, well, hopefully get a few spots. Still 24 minutes to go, not even 10 minutes have elapsed since the race starts, so still plenty of time for him to catch up. And you can see right here, we have quite a big gap on the leaders, Andrew. Sanchez absolutely checked out, 2.2 seconds, then the teammates, and then another 2 seconds to 6th place.
Yeah, I've gotten so used to the other liveries that we've seen from Rockefeller Racing, the purple and kind of pink cars, black and white and all of that. This is going to take me some time to get used to, but I really do love the new look for these guys in the 45, the 69, and even the 06 back there for Ilya Speaker. The 7 for Avon Dorsey. By the way, Avon Dorsey picking up a ride with Rockefeller Racing. That is a big deal for him. So some really cool news here at the start of the season. Some different changes and silly season, if you will, like we have over in NASCAR. Definitely some really cool news. As Sanchez goes purple that lap, a 1:31.381. Certainly rather quick in car 3. He's got nearly 3 seconds on these guys. There's Sanchez down the, well, I was going to say the back stretch, but here we go. Problems. William Love, Kareem Hussein, right in the middle of the field.
Turn 12 looks like he overshot a little bit. Looks like he has damage on the right-hand side of the car, which would be the inside for turn 12. He's going to go straight to the pits to get a quick fast repair as well. And unfortunately for him, looks like he had just another driver who had a race-hindering event. And you can see right here, maybe moves. You can see the number 46 thinking about going down the inside of turn 3, taking a little bit easy. You can see right there, Andrew, looks like, a guy with the same name as you, just taking a little bit easy. Maybe he listened to your advice.
Well, that's the hope. As Korostecki works here on Keith Wilford, this is right inside the top 15. In fact, this would be for 14th position as you took a look there from the driver's eye perspective, something new we've added here at Pit Stop TV, thanks to Whiplash Simcams. And speaking of partners, let's talk about our partners with the season this season. A little bit has changed. We have a new setup partner, IRS, and I'll get clarification on exactly what it stands for. Thankfully, it does not stand for Internal Revenue Service, but glad to have IRS involved this season, building this amateur setup and building a base setup that the pros can work with if they want to. Of course, Muradness, a longtime partner of the North American Racing League, JS Consulting as well, and Screw Compressor Service Incorporated, a longtime partner as well, but never been on the broadcast in seasons past. Here's a nice battle. Gary Weaver fighting just inside the top 20. He actually just switched a lot of positions with guys like Volker Krabs, Philip Durka, Sean Patterson, and Dean Kerr. But it all sorts out to where Gary is now 19th, Sean Patterson is 20th, Dean Kerr is 21st. So positions changed hands, and they all kind of mixed around really quickly, but it's sorted out for now. Up inside the top 5, though, we've kind of seen this in the background of the leader shots that we've seen, but we haven't talked much about these two, Charles Jose and Ilya Speaker, fighting for 4th.
Yeah, these guys have been essentially nose to tail for the... as Ilya now looks like hits the wall just a tiny little bit. Shouldn't be too much damage, but obviously any hit can be, a big problem. But they have been, nose to tail since the beginning of the race. And it's kind of interesting, Andrew, how do you pass around such a difficult course? Obviously, turn 3, I think, is a hot spot for overtaking. Turn 7 right here is another good opportunity, but still, it's so easy to lock up the tires when you don't have ABS and you're running on a track that is as bumpy as Detroit.
Yeah, Long Beach has recently been repaved, actually, I think this season for the U.S. Open Wheel Series and IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Series, and they now no longer have one of the bumpiest street courses in America. I think it goes to Belle Isle. It is really, really bumpy and really difficult to get this car to grip around here. Of course, later in the race, tires are up to temperature, and it is a little easier. In fact, we haven't even mentioned the weather yet. We have so much to go through now pre-race. Track temp, 102 degrees Fahrenheit. Air temp, right about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. About 0.3 of a degree off of that as you watch Ilya Speaker around turn number 2. Just try to keep up right now with Charles Jose. That 100 car is starting to walk away from the 06 ever so slightly, and that gap is opening up.
Yeah, just a tiny little bit lap after lap, corner after corner. We have one car turn around between turns 10 and 11. That's Sean Patterson. He goes straight to the pits, and we have Ray Robinson. Looks like just exiting turn 11. That's a huge hit for that Porsche.
Yeah, Jay Robinson in trouble here in car 321. He'll get the ship righted after backing it into the wall briefly. Dean Kerr now headed down the pit lane for Muradness, one of our drivers that you were introduced to in our pre-race package. Some driver intros, thanks to Scott Reister for organizing all of that. That was really cool to have kind of an introductory meeting with some of the drivers of the series, if you caught that before the broadcast really got going. Jeffrey McDonald in car 13. Oh, look at this battle. This is right at a turn 6 and headed down the backstretch now. Side by side, Jeffrey McDonald, Andrew Korostecki.
You can see side by side, and we could see 3 wide, but looks like we're not going to see it just yet. Can all of them make the corner? You can see right there the number 13 going down the inside. Contact, then 2 driver, the number 70 and the number 46. They essentially do a roadblock and injury, and you can see right there some collisions. But looks like everybody makes it through safely, the number 70 being the biggest loser on that battle.
That was our first track blocker of the day. Gary Weaver and Volker Krebs had nowhere to go as they approached that incident with Korostecki and Philip Bedurka. And as you saw live, Korostecki kind of turned in after letting the one car go by and thought he could just turn in, make that apex. Couldn't do so. There was a car there, and that was Bedurka. And we had that crash in turn 7. But everybody continues on. Nobody's out of the race from that incident. And there's even a new battle brewing inside the top 10. How about Joshua Lyon? Longtime driver here, usually has been an independent over his career in this league, but now you see a brand new team on the right side, left side of that car, and it looks like Rocket Chassis maybe on the nose of it. So a big update for him moving over to MOR. I'll actually have to get clarification on what that stands for. But it's good to see Joshua Lyon finally with a team in this series. And if I look through our notes, I actually don't see Joshua Lyon's team name. I'm looking for it. Oh, there we go. Joshua Lyon, Move Over Racing, MOR. That makes a lot more sense. And I know they've been around for a couple of seasons as well. So good to see Joshua Lyon making that addition to his career here in the North American Racing League. And just ahead, well, he's chasing Billy Bowerman, who's now chasing down the 2 car of Bjorn Stange. So we've got some interesting stuff happening.
Yeah, essentially a battle for 7th place right here. Interesting to see who's going to come out on top. You can see there, Lyon started in 12th place, now currently in 9th, so keeping his nose clean, he has already gained 3 positions. Bowerman obviously in the middle of these two, just trying to chase down Stange up ahead, and you can see one car leaving the pit lane. So it's going to be interesting to see who can keep, their nose clean, and obviously who can push the hardest, essentially trying to force the driver ahead of you to make a mistake. And obviously Stange right here in arguably the best and worst position, just receiving pressure from both drivers behind, as Bowerman now really closes up the gap as we head into this semi, I'd say slow section, but you can see how much speed they're carrying through the corners.
It's a slow but fast section. It is a definite, very tricky, technical portion of the racetrack. Glad these guys are able to navigate it lap after lap without too much issue. This inside the top 10. But behind these guys a little ways, it looks like we've got a real good battle brewing up. Here we go for 17th spot. Volker Krebs, Kleber Tavares, very damaged race cars. Gary Weaver back here, Kerry Corcoran, all just inside the top 20. This is getting fun.
Oh yeah, this is, look at here, a move straight up to turn 5. We don't see that very often, but looks like Tavares was able to get that done. And you can see right there, Krebs just losing a position. Looks like he got a decent exit. It might not be under pressure from Weaver right behind him, but yeah, interesting move there from Tavares. Normally you don't see a driver going down the inside of turn 5, and you can see right here on board with Weaver, the number 75, just trying to close in the gap, trying to get a good exit. But now, Andrew, this is really the slow section of Battle Isle.
And there we go. Gary Weaver taking big-time advantage of that spot. Goes on by Volker Krebs finally for the 18th position now. A big move there for Gary Weaver, as here comes the 8 car to try and pass the 53 as well. That would be Kerry Corcoran trying to take advantage. Further behind these guys, a great battle with Brian Robinson and Don Gottlieb, as Gottlieb actually gets into the fence. Robinson goes through and now battles with Jay Davis here at turn number 12. Davis, one of the drivers over at Rockefeller Racing, newer to that team, trying to defend, but he'll have to give that spot up.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to give 2 spots up before rejoining the racing course, essentially the racing line. And he's going a bit slowly, the 08. You can see a lot of damage right there, so I wouldn't be surprised if he just went straight to the pit lane. It looks like he's going to be doing that to get some quick repairs. And yeah, he was as high as 20th place, Andrew. He started 24th, so he was gaining a few positions, but it looks like that was cut short from him.
And first pit box there for Jay Davis. He comes in for service. How about our race leader? Chris Sanchez right behind a lapped car. As we work through the back end of the circuit, turns 12 and 13, right behind Robert Guadagnoli in the 64 car, who goes 1 lap down. Inside of 15 minutes to go, we just passed halfway. That means we get to talk about our first ever amateur driver of the day vote. And this might be a little difficult, so I'll have to give me a minute to set this up in YouTube. Emerson Arden, I think, having some troubles this evening. But, JP, let's start the, I guess, nomination process. Who do you put up for driver of the day? 2 votes.
Oh, 1 vote, I think, has to go to Sanchez. It's the easy pick, essentially. Started from pole and led every single lap, opened up a good gap. It looks like he's just controlling the pace. The second nomination, Andrew, I think I'm gonna hold out for a bit. I think up until the 10th minute mark. I don't want to jinx anybody. I think I already jinxed Sanchez, but I'm just gonna wait a bit on the second nomination.
Well, then I'll give you until I do mine too. How about that? If that helps out a little bit, just to see how this race changes in the next minute that I end up talking. As we have Samuel Bernardi and Otto Rosa. By the way, it's Clarence Rosa. His name is changed to Otto Rosa. I'm not sure, but I maybe just a middle name or what have you. But Otto now in the 98 car racing with Samuel Bernardi, a new driver to the field. This for the 12th position. Samuel just went on by, and now Keith Wilfred will have a chance here at Rosa for that spot as Ilya Speaker gives up a position to a teammate. Joe Nagy goes through, and that's going to open the door up to Bjorn Stange in a minute. Like I said, JP, I'll give you some extra time by talking. It always happens that way. As you can see, this group of cars through the back end of the course. John Kroom, Milan Harris, working by the slower Robert Guadagnoli. I think, of course, John Kroom is maybe in the conversation as well as Milan Harris, but I'll pass on each of them for now since they're teammates running with a little pressure currently. Somebody I am going to mention and put up for vote is going to be the top new driver we have in the field. That's Charles Jose. So you've got Chris Sanchez nominated. You have to. Let me quickly add this. This is live TV that you have sometimes. Certainly, Charles Jose has to be in that conversation. And one more for myself. How about Bjorn Stange getting on by Ilya Speaker just now as Ilya's got troubles mounting. Joshua Lyon will be soon to take advantage of it, but Bjorn, brand new to the series, impressing me so far in the top 10.
And you just mentioned my second pick. I'm actually going to go for the top 10. I'm going to go for Joshua Lyon. We mentioned him, just moving to a new team, getting a new opportunity, and I feel like he's doing great. You can see there he started in 12th place, currently in 8th, making a few moves, could be going past Ilya Speaker for 7th place as well. So, I think it's a good, race for him so far. Obviously, still 12 minutes to go, so plenty of it, could change. He could move up, and one driver looks like sitting just on the racing line. Essentially, that's the number 46. And, wow, my heart skipped a beat for a few of those drivers right there.
Yeah, that was scary as there you saw a spin there for 46, Andrew Korostecki behind the wheel. And that vote is now live over on YouTube, so make sure to chime in for our Driver of the Day vote. Already, Chris Sanchez pulls a vote. That means he currently leads that vote. You can vote on YouTube to change who might win this Driver of the Day vote. And an extra little bit of cash. I forget exactly how much Scott did last season. I'm not sure how much it's going to be for the amateur guys, but this was very much requested. And in case you're curious, for the pro race, we're going to put up 2 pro-ams and 2 pros. So 1 from each class for each of us, if that makes sense. 1 vote from myself for pro, 1 vote for myself for pro-am. Same thing for JP in that one. And if Gary is able to join us, I'll defer my 2 picks to Gary for that as well. So we'll see how all of that kind of breaks down later. But Chris Sanchez, early leader in our Driver of the Day voting, and now Charles Jose is going to take over. This is a whole lot of fun. I really enjoy this. I'm glad we added this for the amateurs.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting battle for those drivers outside of the racetrack, and it's going to be fun to essentially keep watching it on the background. But Andrew, I was just looking at this livery, and how would you describe it? I feel like it's a bit retro-y, don't you agree?
I wonder if it's intentional or if maybe it was a mistake with the spec map. It looks a little odd. It's not bad. It's just, it definitely catches me off guard. Usually you don't see too many drivers dominate a league race like this and have absolutely no logos on the race car, but Chris Sanchez is doing exactly that. Lowest position of first, as he's led all 13 laps so far, but does have to contend here with a lapped car, and is trying to get by that lapped car. I believe that is Jay Robinson just hanging on, and yes it is, in car 321 finally will have to give up the goose and go 1 lap down.
I think I know what it is. It's one of those your sponsor here liveries. It's actually really smart to sell it on the first race by leading every single lap. So yeah, he's going to be, I think requested. He's going to have a lot of emails by the end of the race to make sure he gets sponsored. But I was just looking at the timing sheets, and it looks like Milan Harris got past his teammate a few laps ago. And due to Sanchez being held up a little bit on turn number 1, he lost over a second just on that encounter. So Milan Harris now able to close the gap a little bit, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be pushing to the max to try and get within a shot of winning this race.
It's going to be tough, but yeah, Milan Harris really opening up some tenths there on the backstretch alone. I wonder if maybe he's running a little less wing, a little faster in a straight line potentially. Also might have saved some fuel to go full bore right now. We'll see. For car 69, of course, he was in behind John Kroom. Now, these guys should be plenty good on fuel, right? 80% fuel limit. These cars can usually run 45 minutes to an hour. We should be all set, but you still want to save fuel, I think. You still want to try and have as much weight on the nose of this race car as possible. As Adam Ballard has a problem in turn 7, goes around and gets recorrected now in the 11th position with Samuel Bernardi closing in. Interesting stuff. And by the way, Milan Harris has already put 3 seconds on his teammate John Kroom.
So you can see right here, I think both drivers actually, Andrew, are stepping up a little bit. Maybe Kroom with a little bit of damage could have hit the wall maybe in one point and be carrying a little bit of damage. That's why he's hurting a little bit of performance. But yeah, the top two, I feel like they're in a league of their own, just pulling up from the rest of the field. You can see the gap to 4th place over 10 seconds. So yeah, really good to see those two. Meanwhile, you can see right here, Elise Speaker now closing in the gap again, Andrew, to Stange. So we could be within an interesting battle. Joshua Lyon as closing in as well.
Yeah, closing in on the 6th car, Bjorn. Sorry, the 2 car in 6th place, Bjorn Stange. Interesting to see what Bjorn is doing in this race so far. And somebody just hit the wall up ahead. I think you might have heard that in the broadcast, you guys watching. And I think it was this car right here. Skylar McKnight out of Florida, and yeah, realizing just how damaged that car is from that contact, Skylar will pull off and tow to the pit lane. The last car on the lead lap currently is a Maradness machine chasing another Maradness machine. Dean Kerr behind the wheel here, 27th spot, trying to chase down his teammate Justin Delgado, and this is always an interesting position to be in. But we could have a fun little battle for position last by the end of this.
Yeah, and also battle between teammates. You obviously always want to beat your teammate, and I'm pretty sure Dean Kerr obviously wants to close in the gap to Delgado. They're pretty much running nose to tail. They could help each other out maybe, but yeah, with 6 minutes and 40 seconds to go, Andrew, who do you think is going to end up on top of this little battle right here?
You know, it's so tough to pass here. I think traditionally I would take Justin Delgado, but Dean Kerr is closing in, and usually you close in for a reason at a place like this. The closing driver usually clearly has speed, and team orders may take over and allow that driver of Dean Kerr to go by. A lot happening in the midfield, by the way. A couple of drivers pitting, a couple of drivers spinning, just trying to catch up with as much of it as we can, and it's tough. A lot going on here in race number 1 of the season. Glad to have you watching along on Pit Stop TV. In case you're brand new to our coverage, well, first of all, welcome as this fight happens down the front stretch. This will be a fun little place to watch some racing for a moment. Glad to have you all here. In case this is your first Pit Stop TV experience, my name is Andrew Cardinale IV. I've got JP Costa alongside. We expect Gary Weaver to join us for the pro race. Emerson Arden is our social media guru. And, well, race number 1 of the season. Let's take a look at our schedule one more time before this amateur race is over, JP. You see, April 27th, the lone date in April. Next week we go to Imola for May 4th, then Barber on May 11th, and Norway, the final round before we head into June and July. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, it certainly is. You know, this is just, I guess, a taste, you know, obviously throwing the hardest track, I think, on the schedule for these drivers, you know, just kind of easing them in. And you can see right there, Sanchez posting the fast lap of the race. Obviously, next week going to Italy, you know, Imola is just absolutely amazing. Barber, Norway, Monza, Brazil. It's going to be a fantastic schedule, as it always is. And I do expect to see the title battle going all the way to the finale, Andrew, as we're used to seeing.
Absolutely, especially those 3 rounds at the end. If the first 5 weren't crazy enough, you're going to have Brazil, the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit, and then Sebring, 3 very traditional circuit races that I think are going to bring things right back together and give a lot of drivers some good opportunities to make up a lot more points back up if they do have trouble in the first 5 races and need to make up for their drop weeks. And then, of course, how about the bonus race, the All-Star race at Long Beach, down for July 6th. That'll be a whole lot of fun at the back end of the schedule. A big shout out, by the way, to our setup builders, IRS. As you can see them top right of the screen, their logo. And just 4 minutes to go, JP, in this opening round of our season. Of course, amateurs on track now. This being the AM race, only 30 minutes, 80% fuel limit, fixed that up, no pit stop in this race for these guys. They kind of have to wait until the pro race, if they get bumped up to pro or pro-am, to be able to make any pit stops, at least for fuel or maybe even tires. I don't expect tire changes, though, in that pro race. We'll talk more about that later on as Sanchez completes another lap here at Detroit. 3 laps to go, thereabouts.
Yeah, and you can see right here Sanchez absolutely pulled away. It's kind of what we see in F1. Sometimes we see a driver setting, a fast lap or closing in, and then the driver ahead just immediately responds. And we saw Milano Harris closing in the gap, and within minutes, Sanchez already turned up the pace, increased by another 3 seconds. And it wasn't just on Milan. You can see right there, the gap to Hosea has increased from 10 to nearly 16 seconds already. So he really has the pace tonight.
By the way, the driver of the day vote currently tied between Charles Jose and Bjorn Stange. We'll see if that changes. Joshua Lyon has himself a vote. It looks like Chris Sanchez has a few. But right now it is between cars 100 and 2. With just 3 minutes to go. And that vote will expire, by the way, when we read through the race results and then transition into interviews. So that's the time you have. Once we finish results, the vote is final, and that is who wins in the event of a tie. I guess we will we'll let Scott Reiser to decide between those two, if not maybe even have a driver vote in the Discord. I don't know. Not something I thought about until this very moment as you watch Bjorn Stange actually hang on over Ilya Speaker. This is for the 6th position on track.
Yeah, and you can see now Speaker just really closing the gap to Stange. 2 minutes and 18 seconds, Andrew, to go. And you can see right here the pressure is, I think it's going to be as high as it can get. Maybe next lap or the last lap, it's going to be, the highest possible way. You can see right here less than, I think, half a second separate them. So Stange right now with huge amount of pressures on him. Can he hold on for a few extra laps? And can the Speaker somehow find a way past the number 2?
We'll see, as Bjorn is now leading the vote outright by quite a bit over Charles Jose in car 100. Just under 2 minutes to go, and a lap car pops onto the racetrack right in front of these guys inside the top 10. That lap car is the 23 machine, and that is Matthew Shervick this season. Out of the Virginias, a new driver, Moser Racing on the side of the car. Good to see him in the field, continuing on. Of course, a little bit disadvantaged, 11 laps down, but trying to continue in the race as he's currently ahead of Joshua Lyon and needs to let Lyon go by. That was a little scary into turn 5, and I think Shervick definitely needs to move over here on the backstretch.
And yeah, as you mentioned, quite a few laps down, and Joshua Lyon, is kind of battling for the 6th place right there, and you can see right here Matthew now letting Lyon go. But yeah, unfortunately, kind of got in the way of the number 24. Still 1 minute to go. Maybe the drivers ahead start battling as one driver went really wide, but avoided the tire barrier, which is really good.
That was a lapped that was a lapped Rockefeller Racing car, I believe, that went way off to no man's land. Want to quickly recap a story we talked about earlier. Gary Weaver from the mic to the racetrack, currently 17th on the racetrack, 2.6 seconds behind Jeffrey McDonald, and he will likely finish in that 17th position. Meanwhile, we are on the white flag lap, the final lap in our amateur race, presented by Whiplash Simcams, and it is all Chris Sanchez lapping another car here, or at least trying to. That was scary. I believe that's Skylar McKnight in the 17, but crisis avoided there. And I'll be honest, JP, we joked about the possibility of having a track blocking crash, 48 of 56 cars like we had at Road America. This has been a very clean amateur race to start the season.
Oh, absolutely. No one was, I think, too eager, to cause a crash. Everybody was cautious through the first few laps, and the incidents we saw were most mistakes of their own. Just one driver going wide, one driver spinning around, and not a lot of drivers involved. Just like we saw on the background, just one driver, unfortunately, going a little bit wide, missing the braking point. So, really good to see this race. Hopefully, it's a good sign to come for the amateur drivers. And, the driver who I think kept it cleanest was this guy right here, the number 3. Saw no competition ahead of him, just, kept the nose pointing in the right direction, and is now, about to win the race.
No race is ever easy. But this one has been made to look easy by Chris Sanchez, who hangs it out there out of turn 13. And around turn 14, it is a checkered flag, a big dub for car 3 to open the season of the North American Racing League. Congratulations, Chris Sanchez. Second across the line, Milan Harris. Third, John Kroom. Fourth, as he comes around, will be car 100, Charles Jose. In position 4, Joe Nagy still battling here with Bjorn Stange and Ilya Speaker for 5th. He will hang on. And our top 10 should be just about decided as everybody comes to the line.
And everybody just coming up. You can see right there the flag being waved, and now the drivers can essentially breathe, a sign of calmness. Just race is over. Now you can take a little bit easier. Essentially get yourself calmed down, because I'm pretty sure, Andrew, after you run even 30 minutes around this racetrack, it certainly feels like a workout sometimes.
That it does. And there was some contact there across the line between Bernardi and Wilfred. Otto Rosa across the line. Here's Tavares. Jeffrey McDonald across as well. And then Gary Weaver finishes in the 17th spot. That warms my heart. A top 20 finish in the top half of the field for Gary. That makes me happy personally. I'm glad to see Gary do a pretty decent job here in his first North American Racing League race. This is a tough league. Really high I ratings. Of course, this is the amateur class. They are lower I ratings compared to the pros, but still a really tough field. I certainly wouldn't be that good. And really cool to see Gary do pretty darn solid here in his first outing. There's Brian Robinson across the line. Here comes Eric Letsky. And Dean Kerr will finish 25th. By the way, he did pass his teammate, Justin Delgado, in the 179. And that means Chris Sanchez, at least it looks like officially, is your race number 1 winner. We'll wait to confirm that for just a little bit. Technically, it's all unofficial, but I doubt anything will come back, and car 3 should definitely be headed to victory lane. Let's take a look at your unofficial race results, beginning with Chris Sanchez.
So Chris Sanchez, the number 3, wins the race, 4.5 seconds ahead of second place Milan Harris. John Kroom finishes 3rd place ahead of Charles Jose at the number 100. Joe Nagy finishes in 5th place. Bjorn Stange holds off the pressure from Ilya Speaker to finish 6th. Obviously, Ilya, the number 6, finishes in 7th place. There you go. Joshua Lyon finishes in 8th place ahead of Billy Bowerman, and Wendell Lira finishing up in 10th place.
Finishing 11th, it's Adam Ballard. Samuel Bernardi finishes 12th. And it's Keith Wilford there in the 13th spot. Otto Rosa, Kleber Tavares finish your top 15. To round out your top 20, though, is Jeffrey McDonald, broadcaster Gary Weaver, Philip Baderka, a longtime veteran here in the league, Volker Krebs there in 19th, and Brian Long in the 20th position.
21st place goes to the number 7, Avon Dorsey. Andrew Korostecki finishes in 22nd place ahead of Brian Robinson. Eric Leitsky finishes in 24th place. Dean Kerr finishes in 25th ahead of Justin Delgado. So Andrew, Dean ended up passing Delgado on the final few laps. Kerry Corcoran finishes in 27th. William Love 28th. Jay Davis finishes in 29th. And Jay Robinson in 30th place.
The back end of your field, Robert Guadagnoli 31st, Don Gottlieb there in 32nd, Sean Patterson 33rd. 34th goes to Joey Raymer, Nick Polliard, Skylar McKnight, Matthew, as we learned here, Zerwick in 37th, then Jason Telton in 38th, Kareem Hussein in 39th, John Kelly in 40th, and 41st, Rodrigo Arantes trouble there on the opening couple of laps. Here to talk to us, it looks like first up, Milan Harris, and now we have told drivers, first up, that you have got to be prompt to joining the room because we have a lot happening. We got to move quickly. It looks like Milan is first in the booth. And by the way, Bjorn Stange is officially your amateur driver of the day. Congratulations to Car 2. But let's bring in Milan Harris, who finishes second in race 1 for the amateur division this season. Milan, it's good to have you back, first of all, and everybody else in the series. How about that brand new look for all of you over at Rockefeller Racing? Boy, is that striking.
Hey, it's mean looking, isn't it, Andrew? Hey, great to be back here. That was an awesome race. Chris Sanchez, I kind of made it easy on him. I couldn't pull it together. I got to slow down there at the start, but he had the pace. I don't know if I could have even done anything, even if I did not make those few mistakes. John, great teammate there for letting me by, just showing that I kind of had the pace. So he's like, take it. So love that. The team's great. We've done a lot of practice going into this season. Hopefully we can show it. So
a couple of new additions as well. I noticed Avon Dorsey now in your Rockefeller Racing colors. How much of an addition, how much of a bump up in general is that for you guys at Rockefeller? I know you always want to add new drivers, always want to bolster the team, and it looks like you guys have done that.
Yeah, it's good because, we get on several times during the week. We all learn from each other and stuff like that. Avon's a great person to have on the team, really clicks with the team, great to have and talk with and stuff. And it's just good to have more cars on the track to practice with and stuff. So even if it's not, the pace isn't quite there with everybody, we're all close enough to kind of benefit from it. And it definitely helps going into these races.
Well, Milan, congratulations. A pretty solid opening round. It's going to put you in a pretty good spot in the points. You're used to that. Now you just got to go get one spot better for Imola. Best of luck to you. We'll see you next week in Italy.
Hey, thank you, Andrew.
Milan Harris, P2 this evening for Rockefeller Racing. A strong run for sure. And Chris Sanchez, he was early to the line, a little bit late to the broadcast booth, but JP, here is your amateur race winner.
So Chris, first race, every single lap led, pole position, race victory. I don't think this day could have got any better for you.
That's pretty good. I think it's a good way to start the season.
Oh, absolutely. Me and Andrew were just talking during the race about your livery. Was it an accident on the broadcast, maybe on trading paints or something, or is it the actual livery of the car?
Yeah, that's the livery. Yep.
So yeah, there you go, Andrew. So that's the Put Your Sponsor Here livery, and you did an amazing job today. How difficult was it to track around today? Just getting the lap down and qualifying, leading every single race, managing traffic. How was it from your point of view?
Yeah, it felt good for the first half of the race, and then got up to a bit of traffic, and it was a bit hard to pass on this track, so it's a given. But the qualifying, I could have gone a little bit faster, so I'm kind of disappointed in myself because I stuffed up right at the end, but it's okay.
All right, so removing the sandbags as you go and heading next week to Imola. How confident are you on that racetrack? Could you repeat the result that you had here today?
Yeah, I'm feel pretty confident with it. I love the Italian tracks, Monza, Imola. So.
Well, absolutely. We're certainly going to keep an eye out for you. This was a fantastic result. Hopefully we can talk to you next week again.
Cool. Thanks.
All right, Andrew. So that was our race winner, the number 3, Chris Sanchez. Absolutely amazing result for him. Hopefully we can see more of this performance as we go through the season.
Maybe we'll have to talk with Chris about getting a Pit Stop TV logo on the side of that race car. Maybe Whiplash Simcams, who knows. But thank you so much for joining us here for the opening round of the amateur division. Bjorn Stange officially the driver of the day with a 50% vote. A staggering number, by the way. That is a solid majority. It was 50, 25, 15, and 10, the amounts. So solid vote there for Bjorn as he finishes in 6th. And that will do it for our amateurs on track. Next up, we have got pros and pro-ams coming at you. Don't go anywhere. Here's the flight one more time. This just looks so cool. Thanks to Google Earth for this. And there you see the Belle Isle Street Course, Michigan to the north, Canada to the south. We have got more racing coming up next 50 minutes for the pros.
My name is Scott Reister. I'm the creator of North American Racing League, also a NARL Porsche Cup driver, broadcasted live by Pit Stop TV.
Hi, my name is John Sedlak, and I race for Firelight Esports in North American Racing League. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/diesel_dad.
Hello, I am Dino Filippa, sim racer from Argentina, current champion, and I will be competing in the championship for the ERS team and also providing the data for each race for the participant drivers.
Hey guys, I am Marco Saavedra and I'm a NARL Porsche Cup driver representing Infinite Racing Services. I'm a race winner and multiple podium finisher on the last NARL GT3 season, so I'll be working to get even better results this championship on a different car. See you all on track.
Hi guys, I am Ricardo Rico from Spain. I drive with Zenith Esports and I will be doing this Porsche Cup season in the North American Racing League. I hope you can catch with us on the Pit Stop TV broadcast and we will try to give you a good show. See ya!
Hi, my name is Lubov. I'm full-time streamer, content creator, ambassador for Master and Excel Racing. And also, I'm North American Racing League Porsche Cup driver.
Hey guys, my name's Ryan Kerr. Looking forward to racing in NARL, broadcast by Pit Stop TV again this season. This time in the pro category after last season's good result. Racing again with Miranda's. Looking forward to seeing everybody out on track.
Hi, my name is David Schwartz. I'm 36 years old. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm representing the Miranda's M squad. In real life, I'm the 2018 D Street Las Vegas region autocross champion, also an STCA time trial winner, and I've been sim racing for about 6 years.
Hi, I am Dalton Zavidal, driver for SimCity Racing and North American Racing League Porsche Cup driver. I am the 2021 Colorado Karting Tour iRacing Winter Series champion and the 2022 Season 1 Porsche Cup Pro-Am champion.
Olá, meu nome é Jackson Rezende, faço parte da Texaco Race by TK e sou piloto da North American Race League Porsche Cup.
Hey guys, Bruno Do Carmo here from Texaco Racing by TK, Pro World Championship license back in 2017, and now I'm a North American Racing League Porsche Cup driver.
Hello guys, my name is Gustavo Ariel and I'm Texaco Racing by Tony Canan driver, and I'll be driving on the North American Racing League Porsche Cup Championship. Let's go.
Welcome back alive to Detroit Belle Isle. Round 1 of the North American Racing League Porsche Cup, season number 3, coming at you with Porsche Cup cars, the pros on track now. The pros and pro-ams for the first time this season. Dino Filippa leading in practice with just about 20 seconds or so to go. And Gary, first of all, welcome to the NARL booth. Just about the same as you have on UFL on Wednesdays, but glad to have you as we fly in here on Google Earth, the Belle Isle Street Course. You just ran that amateur race. First of all, what was it like out there?
Panic-inducing. We'll go with that one, especially with the start. I didn't get a good qualifying run like I expected, unfortunately. So I ended up hitting, I think, the wall maybe twice, at least in qualifying. So that already set me back in the back of the field. But then with the main start in the AM race, it was wild.
It was definitely a sight to behold as you put that 75 car P17. But let's talk about this track. JP and I, of course, we talked about it at the top of the show, but I felt like turns 7, 11, and 12 were the toughest, especially because 12 is slower than 13. You can pick up speed there through the 13th corner. 7 and 11, of course, very slow. Got to manage the curbing on the inside. Would you concur? What did you see out there?
I'd say, I could take a cop-out answer and say the entire track is difficult, but honestly, I definitely had troubles with the braking zone for turn 3, that's for sure. Turn 1 and, I'll just go through the entire track really. Turns 1 and 2 were very difficult to hook up. I noticed that some people were taking a wider line into turn 2 than I expected. I thought it was curb to curb. That wasn't the case. The braking zone into turn 3 was a bit of a challenge, considering I'm still unsure if the brake markers are in the correct place or not. They seem to be, but also not really. It's quite strange. Going in turn 4 and turn 5, probably, in my opinion, at least for me, maybe the easiest corners throughout this entire track. Turn 6 is very, very nerve-wracking is the word I'm looking for, with the wall just directly on the right-hand side, all the way up through turn 7, especially going down, was it Stand Drive or Strand Drive?
Yeah, Strand Drive, yep.
Strand Drive, there we go. That's it. Yeah. So that's a very, very tricky braking zone. I locked up. Luckily, both tires only once, nearly careened into the back of somebody, actually twice. But luckily, I managed to stay off the back bumpers. There's a bit of a pile up there that I quite literally ran into for the most part. Turn 8 has a bit of a dip, actually, on the inside where the curbing is. So that kind of hooks the car to the left, and it assists your turn, essentially. But having to track out wide to that wall between 8 and 9 is very challenging. You definitely scrape that wall at least a few times. Turn 9 and 10, they're corners. Turn 11 is very deceivingly a very deceivingly tight corner, I feel like. That's a very, very slow corner, very challenging, and you have the tire barriers on the outside wall once you end up exiting the corner, so you have to look out for that at the same time. Turn 12 and turn 13, like you mentioned, they're relatively quick. Turn 12 was they're very challenging to link up and keep speed throughout both of those corners. But if you can hook that up correctly, it is relatively, it's a really good lap. You'll set yourself up for a fantastic lap. Terrifying, but I managed to do that. And then turn 14 is, turn 14, pretty much the easiest, one of the other easiest corners at this track.
Gotta be honest, this is the first for me here at Detroit, seeing the steamship headed down the Detroit River, headed to the south, it looks like, as you pass Canada to the south and Detroit to the north. But let's take a look at our schedule this season. Definitely a unique one. A lot of unique tracks. Detroit this evening, Italy next week at Imola, then Barber, Rudskogen, Monza combined without chicanes, then Interlagos, the Nürburgring Grand Prix Circuit, and Sebring for our points-paying events. Which one sticks out to you the most other than Monza?
The one, I'll say this, one I'm not looking forward to in terms of I don't know the track well is Rudskogen, because that is a challenging track. I've done maybe a couple test laps there in the test session, but that's about it. So I'm going to have to get ready for that. But Imola is going to be very, very fun next week. I always love seeing that track and always love racing there too.
Well, on track we have pro qualifying. You'll notice your blue numbers are your pro drivers, your pink numbers are your Pro-Am drivers. Scott Reister currently the fastest of the pros, lap 1. That changes now. Marco Saavedra across the line quickest in car 99 with a couple of new teammates in the field. You see the Infinite Racing Setups machine out fastest. Bradley Alvis currently fastest in Pro-Am, and this is a very different game from the amateurs. This is open setup racing. It's up to the drivers and teams to decide really how fast this car goes. And how about Fabio Zamperlini? Some speed here from our original OG Season 1 GT3 champion.
About 0.6 of a second off, so he definitely has pace in that car. Very fascinated by the time gaps that we have here as we take a look at Zamperlini, doing a fantastic job driving this car around.
Here's a look at Bradley Alvis currently in 6th. And just how much of the curve do you feel like you can use here, Gary? I did some laps myself, but you just did it for 30 straight minutes, and I certainly couldn't even do 3. So 30 minutes versus 3, that's a big difference. How much of the curbing can you use in this car?
It depends on the corners. The curbs are very, how do I say it, not advisable to use depending on the corners. So it'll depend. Turns 1 and 2, maybe sort of for the most part. But you see Rico there. That's pretty much right where you want to use the curb, and that's the line. That is a fantastic lap as well, putting him second place. Second place on the timing tower, 0.033 seconds off. So he does have a chance here.
Couple of other drivers in Pro-Am. How about Alec Bergstrom, currently 3rd quickest. Martin Gravigna 2nd quick. Bergstrom from the Maradness group. Here's Martin Gravigna in the all-black number 23 car. And just trying to get a feeling of who's going where. Ryan Kerr, 6th quick. And a very gold Maradness machine, Oceana Coffee, there on the side of that car. Good to see the champion representing.
You definitely can't miss that car on track. That is actually really shiny, and wow, what a snap and what a save.
You know what this reminds me of? The Jota, I think it's Jota, Porsche, that is rolling out for GTP this season in IMSA and LMDH in WEC. Is it Hoda? Is it Jota? Jota? I'm not sure.
It is Jota, yes, Jota.
There you go. Ryan Kerr, a very similar paint scheme here for this number 01. Johan Shirazi from Geodesic, currently 12th quick as Dino Filippa goes faster on the top of the board. We heard from him in the driver intro package that was played at the start of the broadcast. Bruno De Carmo, 13th quick as Scott Reister goes up to 6th, and Ricardo Rico, top of the board to pole.
Look at that, Gustavo Ariel not far behind as well, putting himself 2nd place in the timing sheets.
Jackson Resende, car 96, he picks up 6th quick. Does he go faster here? Yes, he does. He's going to pick up, but stay in 6th position. We're seeing the Flyers really come in now. Fabio Zamperlini has dropped down to 15th. He's on his final lap. Thomas Rayleigh in Pro-Am goes 16th quick. There's Stacy Bertrand, now headed over to Rockefeller Racing in position 17. Also in the Pro-Am category, Rob Campbell is 19th. Robert Pendergrast there in the 20th position. John Sedlak from Firelight Esports here in 22nd.
Taking a look, everyone's starting to finish up their lap times here as, that is a very tricky section that Zeus is going into. It is going to be a very, very wild race. So some of these cars having a snapping on corner exit, I believe that's out of turn 2. That's a very interesting thing. That lap is going to be invalidated for sure, and yep. That 55, no doubt, going to just wait until the end of the session.
Yeah, that was Giuliano Romagnolo, one of the Porsche Esports Canada pro drivers for Porsche Center Oakville. Had the pleasure of commentating one of those races at Sebring a few weeks ago with Jake Sperry for Sim TV. Really glad to get those kinds of opportunities, and really amazing racing over there, proving why the Porsche Cup car is one of the best in all of sim racing. Here's Love 46 to the line, a 131.070, and that's decently quick, 15th position, in fact. So top half of the field as everybody wraps up their times. Here's Johan Shirazi once more in car 66 on Johan's final lap, currently 12th.
Taking a lot of curb, and this last lap is going to be his final lap as he spun out. Zeus taking another lap once again here. Scrapes the wall. That might be an invalid lap. We'll see, but he's still going like it's running, so we'll see.
Zachary Diaz through turn 6 and onto this back stretch. And you mentioned turn 7, real tough braking zone. Why is that?
I said Zeus, didn't I? That's unfortunate. That's my bad. Turn 7 is a very difficult braking zone. You're coming in with top speed, and you have to be careful not to lock up the brakes. And then this curb right there, you can pretty much take that curb. I was being very, very safe with that curb. But there's turn 8 right there with the bumps, and just scrapes the wall. I think at this point, Deus is going to be pretty much just finishing the lap, just trying to get himself acclimated.
Here's look at Miguel Colon, just wraps up lap number 2 of his run and moves up to 12th quick. That's all that's going to count for Miguel, and not enough time to get back around now. But Deus going to have a chance here if this lap still counts for the Muradness M squad. Let's see if he sticks with it out of turn 13. Yes, he will. Let's see what he can do. Car 112 to the line. Does he go faster? He'll go faster. Does it count? The answer is yes, and he picks up a lot of time but stays 28th quick on the board. A troublesome qualifying run there for Zach Deus, as that is going to do it for qualifying. Let's talk about some race details and race keys this evening, brought to you first by Whiplash SimCams. Race details, 50-minute pro race, 50% fuel limit open setup. So a lot of differences to the amateur race. I love this, though. We have 2 very different races instead of feeling like it's just 2 of the same race. A lot more fuel saving we're going to see in this one for sure. Going to try to keep those tires underneath these guys, and of course open setup. A lot of differences.
And personally, I didn't have many issues with the tires after 30 minutes. So we'll see if some drivers really decide to take tires or to save that set of tires and just take the fuel only.
Keys to the race: don't go for too much on the start, especially. Just race the racetrack, stay easy on the tires, back up your corners, and of course, save fuel. Let's meet our starting grid this evening for round number 1 of the North American Racing League Porsche Cup Season number 3. On pole, Ricardo Rico in car 51, Gustavo Ariel, a former GT3 champion, will start from second. Starting third, Dino Filippa in car 1, reigning Porsche Cup champion, wrapped it up at Bathurst some 8 months ago. Marcos Saavedra will start from fourth. Starting fifth, it's Lawrence Zavadiel for SimCity Racing. Jackson Resende will start from 6th position. Starting 7th and 8th, Fabio Zamperlini and Ryan Kerr, former Pro-Am champ. Starting 9th position, how about league owner Scott Reister alongside Bruno De Carmo.
Alex Bergstrom will start 11th. 12th place is Miguel Colon. Johan Shirazi starts off in 13th, with Matthew O'Leary starting in 14th. Luan Hott starts 15th. 16th is going to be Martin Griminga. Love 46 starting off in P17. P18 is Robert Pendergrast in the number 123. And then Thomas Rayleigh will start 19th, with Stacy Bertrand starting rounding out the top 20.
Starting 21st in our 33-car field. We'll try to get all of it in here. Jake Luther, 21st. 22nd, Rob Campbell. Starting 23rd, it's Aubrey Kundal on the 53 car. Adam Hartzell from 24th spot. 25th, it's John Sedlak from Firelight Esports. Scott Angelo will start from 26th. Starting 27th, it's Bradley Alvis. Zachary Deus from 28th. 29th is Dominic Turcotte. 30th, Armando Bejaron. The last 3, Giuliano Romagnolo, Bobby Flack, and finally, Dan Willis. We got all 33 in. Not sure how, but we have got 50 minutes of racing, and it begins now. Oh, what a big crash. There it is. What we thought we might see in the amateur race, we see from the pros on the start. I think it was the 18 that went around to kick it all off, but our leaders go down to turn 3 for the first time at the end of Central Avenue. 1 off of the barriers, 2, 3 off of the barriers. Everybody trying to get too much. My goodness.
Still piling in, too.
Everybody trying to reverse back onto the racetrack and rejoin, as this is your battle for the race lead through the first 5-6 corners. Ricardo Rico and Gustavo Ariel. On board with Gustavo, headed down to turn 7. And, their job has been made a little bit easier. Less pressure, fewer cars to try and battle with them, but they've still got a battle up here for the race lead. Chaos, lap 1.
Something that I was not expecting either. These top 2 drivers now both have a gap, and in fact, Ariel might try and go for the lead. We'll see. But they both have a gap now to third place, being Dino Filippa, about 1.2 seconds between second and third.
More chaos in the back, more slow cars through the end of the lap here. Jake Luther, it looks like, stopped. Rob Campbell stopped. A lot of chaos in the back, but lap 1 going to go the way of Ricardo Rico and car 51. You see everybody running this first lap. Once this lap completes, we'll take a look back at what just happened in turns 1, 2, and 3 on the opening lap. And Giuliano Romagnolo, by the way, who started 31st, is now 13th. Talk about flipping the script.
That is, that's definitely something. I mean, that's the benefits, essentially, of starting in the back. You get to avoid the wrecks, and that's the, while I was not happy about it in the M race, it kind of helped out because you do have a lot of time to react to anything that does happen.
Well, let's take a look back at what just happened to these guys on lap number 1. There certainly was plenty of chaos to talk about. These are your leaders, and let's just try to follow along and see what happens. I think it was a Maradness car that went around, maybe somebody else. Oh yeah, there was some contact 3 wide. I'm not sure which Maradness car that was. Maybe Bergstrom, potentially? I think it was.
Definitely was the 18 in the back.
Was it O'Leary that went around?
I believe he, yeah, just took the curb too much on corner entry.
Well, let's see if we can get a look. Looking for Matthew O'Leary in the 18 car. Here he is. He's on the inside, and there's... Oh, yeah. Washes out into that geodesic car. Catches his teammate Bergstrom out there, and look at everybody pile in. This is just turn 2. Then it all gets so much worse up in turn 3. I'm not even sure. Was it Jackson or Resende? Yeah, Resende goes deep here in turn 3, and everybody follows him.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that reversing directly onto the track, that's not the most advised option.
No, it's not. And I was just about to call it out. If you didn't, I was going to. That is just, you can't have that really from the pros. And I hate to be that kind of guy, lap 1, turn 3. But you simply can't have that from pro drivers in this field. We just saw a perfectly clean and green amateur race, and mistakes happen. I can't fault the mistakes of getting deep into the corner, but the reversing back onto the racetrack is a little bit unfortunate to see from our pro competitors, and I think just a wake-up call for sure, as that was... that was Gramigna that backed up into the field. Thankfully, it really wasn't that big. It could have been a lot worse, but you still don't want to see that.
Yeah, he definitely had a lot of space, so hopefully something to keep in mind for the next few races especially. But, man, everyone's still single file, everyone's still...
Here's the mega start for Romagnolo.
This is what I want to see. I think I saw him snuck by here.
Wow.
Not even that. Wow.
I mean, he got 5 or 6 spots by the start-finish line. Gets some contact there, kind of phases through one car. Still trying to navigate all of this. Picked the right line there. Now battling with Scott Angelo out of turn 2. This is flying down to turn 3. Then we'll quickly go back up to our race leaders. Nothing has changed, by the way. It's still Rico over Ariel and Felipa. Goes by the geodesic machine. This is turn 3 for Romagnolo. Moves over to the right side. Boy, was that aggressive, and boy, did it work out.
That is absolutely... That is fantastic.
Then,
I think he still gains a couple positions from that as well. That's incredible.
This is insane.
What a run.
What a few corners there for Giuliano Romagnolo. Stu on the opening lap. Mega start. Already up to 11th now under green flag conditions as we're on to lap 3. And, wow, this is a really, really big start for car 55. Let's hope he can keep it up. Now, as far as the driver that kind of kicked all of that off, Matthew O'Leary, unfortunately, he's down in 24th position, but he has grabbed his faster pair. He's in behind Season 1 GT3 driver, or champion, rather, Fabio Zamperlini. And he has got his work cut out for him as the Pro-Am leader currently is Luan Hott in 8th position all the way up here. Thomas Rayleigh in Love 46, a battle for 9th position overall. And one of the big differences in this North American Racing League compared to a lot of multi-class series is that you earn your points by overall position. It's not class position that earns you your standings points. So you've got to battle with drivers in other classes, and that's a little bit unique, but it's so rewarding for the Pro-Am guys that are able to battle up here with the pros.
And something that we get a chance to watch as well, seeing pretty much how these drivers interact with others that aren't in the same class. And being able to actually see that, not only that, they're also in the same car, so we don't have to have some people letting each other by for a faster class. As we see it pass just up ahead, I believe.
I think that was a lapped car. Yes, that was Bruno de Carmo going by, I believe that was Ryan Kerr, maybe, that he just passed.
That will explain why I didn't see anything change.
No, I think he passed Bergstrom.
I think.
Yes, Scott Angelo in the back around from M Squad as well. Troublesome start for him.
Both Sedlak and Angelo had both locked up in the same corner.
John Sedlak a little further up the road out of New Jersey. I know a viewer currently in the chat, Kayla Rondeau, will like that one. Let's take a look, though, at what happened here between John Sedlak and Scott Angelo. So I think it's a little bit afterwards. Let's back up a little more. I see Angelo's behind, so we'll go to Angelo's perspective here and take a watch. Oh, well, there goes, okay, that explains it. Sedlak deep into turn 3. Angelo checks up, trying to miss it, goes for a bit of a slide. Makes a lot more sense.
Very good of both of them to keep it out of the wall, and great job for Sedlak to keep it off of, or great job for, I just had the name, and now I'm blanking. Man, it's been oh, wow, contact. It's been a hectic race so far.
That it has. We're already 8 minutes in, and it feels like it's been 2 minutes, if that tells you anything. The action, certainly at the start of this pro race, has been electric. Gustavo Edial all over Ricardo Rico for this lead position. And this is where we get into the fuel-saving conversation. We're going to see it all season long. It's part of Porsche Cup racing, especially in these longer races where you have to make a pit stop. Gustavo going to try to save all he can to take less fuel on the pit stop. The problem with that, especially on a street circuit, there's a lot tighter, more technical corners, and you're seeing Ricardo Rico scoot away ever so slightly. And Gary, if he's able to get enough of a gap back to Gustavo, that's going to pretty much negate any fuel saving Gustavo can do otherwise.
And especially with this track, it's very, I'm more than likely sure, even now still trying to find time here and there. There's so many places on this track where you can just try and find time and eke out the throttle a little bit more and more every lap in some of these corners. But especially like right here for turns 1 and 2, you have to be pretty much right on the throttle, right on the apex, and you have to watch out for the outside wall. But for fuel saving, you really have to, what goes into one of the key points is you have to back up the corners. So we'll see if that plays into somebody's favor here for fuel saving.
Yeah, that was one thing I noticed most with this Porsche Cup car here is there's just not much front grip. Not as much grip as you might see in a GT3 car. A little more air devices on those things. A little more front downforce, able to turn in better. These cars really, you have to wrestle them, it feels like. At least on a fixed setup, I'm sure these guys have a bit more nimble feeling in the nose of the car, especially with a full fuel load, or at least nearly full fuel load. But with these lighter limits, actually, 50%, again, they might be challenged to find that front-end grip. Less weight on the nose, less turn-in.
It's also a better advantage as well to find that those lap times. As we switch back to a battle, oh no.
Zach Deus, turn 3. Right at the end of Central Ave. And he gets turned around now, but drops all the way to position 27. Problem, Scott Angelo out of turn 4. Oh, man.
Wow.
He's reversing, and here comes his teammate. Oh!
Oh, no. Oh.
Well, at least it was a teammate.
I don't know if that would have made that better or worse in that case.
You know, I think the teammate's going to be a little less mad, a little more forgiving because you're teammates, but at the same time, you're teammates. You can't mess up your teammate. But Scott Angelo gets back going now in position 27. Rob Campbell just behind. I think as well, I doubt Zach is going to be upset about that. Zach just had that mistake he made himself in turn 3. Matthew O'Leary, 22nd, working on Armando Bejaran. Dan Willis up the road in the foreground. Miguel Colon just behind these guys. Miguel Colon, independent of most of these teams. I don't think he has any teammates in the field. And Jackson Resende right behind these guys. A pro driver, quite literally in a lot of ways. Unfortunately, not able to do much. He was the one that made that big mistake into turn 3 and kind of kicked everything off that opening lap.
Let's see, sitting 24th, he does have a bit of a lot of chances here to gain some positions back, especially with the pit stops, as Cologne had looked to the right-hand side of O'Leary, and O'Leary's going to overshoot the corner. That's going to be an easy position pass off to P23.
Oh no, Fabio Zamperlini deep in the barrier here in turn 4. The 27 now gets turned back around. That was a big problem, though, for a moment.
I'll make that 22nd now for Resende at this point. Looks like the 27 got squeezed out of room, just unexpectedly got forced onto the grass.
Let's take a look back at it for Fabio Zamperlini, former GT3 champ. It's been a rough go since that championship, though. He has had rough season after rough season. He was up here battling, I want to say around the 15th spot. With 81 there. Oh yeah, Hartzell, that was 18th, so 19th spot. And just gets pushed off into the barrier. Well, 37 minutes to go. With a little bit of change as Fabio joins in behind Aubrey Kundal. Up front, Gustavo Ediel still second and still about 7/10 behind your race leader as these guys puff the fence. It's always interesting to see that kind of, whether it's simulated or actual contact with the wall and that puff of smoke. And I wonder, you might have a little more experience with it, Gary. Were those actual wall contacts for you guys most times you got that close, or is it just a graphical thing?
It depends, quite literally. Sometimes I think it's literally the tire actually hitting, contacting the wall first. So it quite literally depends. I think out of turn 11 right here, wow, someone just absolutely mounted the curb. Especially with the wall on the exit of turn, I think it's 11. I only did that once, so I think it's a combination of graphical and just having enough of at least hitting the tires versus the actual car.
There you see Julian Romagnola through the screen. He is now into 9th position, recently passing Love 46 for that spot. And I know this kind of is a brief detour from the action position to position, but this, I feel, is such a cool way to just watch the race sometimes. Watch one camera angle in a combo of corners like this, let the field go through, and get an idea of where everyone is. Of course, you guys out watching, you can all pick out your favorite car, see where your teammate or friend or family member is currently running in this field, and maybe how much damage they already have on their car on lap 10, but a really unique perspective.
It's something I absolutely love, especially complex sections. The one corner that comes to mind already that's very notorious for that, doing that in a good way, is the entry to the swimming pool section at Monaco, or just the entire swimming pool section at Monaco. Seeing the stat cameras and everyone weaving their way through, quite literally, it is just a fascinating camera angle. The 27's in pit row, Zamperlini.
And this will not work, unfortunately, for that fuel strategy. This is, I think, out of necessity for Fabio. A tough run for the Brazilian, but hopefully he has time to get that righted this season. We talked about it a couple of times in the amateur race and as well before this race got going. A long schedule, a lot of different races, a lot of great races, as this is a very heated looking battle for 19th. Miguel Colon swerving a little bit, trying to get by Dan Willis. This is for the 19th spot. This is in Pro-Am. And if I count the Pro-Am drivers right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is for 9th and 10th in class.
I say 19th through 25th, all the Pro-Am drivers. So we'll see how this fares as Miguel Colon sits right on the back gearbox, essentially, of Dan Willis. Coming up through turn 10, up to the right-hander that is turn 11, trying to get a crossover, and does not work, or switchback in some cases. And right through the semi-fast section of turns 12 and 13.
12 is really quick, really precise. 13 is even quicker, but a little more forgiving. You can be a little bit more offline here as Miguel Colon takes a look to the right side. Thought about it. Now on to the front stretch. Where does he go? Stays in line down to turn 1, but briefly had a look as Jackson Rosende pits. This feels a bit more like it could be for strategy, but this still feels way too early.
It feels a bit too early. I believe we were thinking about at least about 30 minutes remaining, but we'll see how things go. Of course, they more than likely know something that we don't. It is only 50% fuel. He is, as Rosende's down in the way, in about 8.35 seconds.
Yeah, I expected these guys to run until about 30 minutes to go. or 20 minutes to go rather. About 30 minutes of racing completed at that point. But we may see a few of these guys that got further back in the field on the first, few laps, especially Resende, who had that mistake in turn 3 himself. I think he's doing that to get out of sequence, to get out of the mess in the midfield and run some clean laps. As here comes the move from Miguel Colon up to turn 7. It gets blocked, switches back over. This is going to get messy if they keep this up. This is a lot to be doing on lap 12 of an expected 34. I mean, I appreciate Willis's defense, but there's a reason the 87 is passing right here, right? He's faster. And I think at this point in the race, and especially this stage in the season, I would let him go. Make friends early.
Yeah, it'd be pretty ideal. Well, I'll wait until the start-finish line, actually, as the curb was gotten by Willis there on corner entry to turn 12. I'll see if Cologne decides to look. He looks to the right-hand side. Will he actually go for the pass this time again? He'll probably just sit back, and he does. Start-finish line of 132.650 for Dan Willis, and 132.66 for Cologne, as Deus is in pit road.
Zach Deus, Aubrey Kundal. Apparently the pit window has opened up. And Dan Willis finally has to give that spot up at a turn 3 to Miguel Colon. His teammate Matthew O'Leary trying to go through as well, trying to pass Dan Willis. And they sort all of that out. Stacy Bertrand in the 16th spot, very close to Bradley Alvis. And further up, how about Thomas Rayleigh and Robert Pendergast? Pendergast, a brand new driver to this field. Rayleigh, a long-time Pro-Am and Am driver. Good to see Rayleigh making some big strides, picking up a lot of pace recently. 12th place in this race. Very impressive to me. And things you love to see. Drivers progressing over the course of seasons on seasons. Rayleigh, I'll be honest, has been a driver we've seen some struggles out of. This, complete opposite. A much better race and very, very impressive.
It's very rewarding when you have a really good track, that you're used to. I've ran maybe like one or two league races and thought, well, okay, I have this track and we'll see what happens. And suddenly I'm running in like the top 3, top 5 and doing really well. But usually that's oval, so road I'm still getting used to. As Rayleigh looks to the right-hand side, he definitely thought about it for how long he was sitting there, but very wisely decided not to go for it. I think Pendergast ever so slightly locked up. I still manages to stay ahead as they go through turn 4 and turn 5.
Well, and if you notice, these two are teammates. Something I didn't realize at first. I only just noticed it. So if I look for either one of these two guys, Pendergast, Epic Fails Motorsports, EFM, running together 11th and 12th currently. They are 2nd and 3rd, making up 2/3 of the podium here in Pro-Am competition. Now, we had the first ever amateur driver of the day vote. And the way we're going to do things for the Pro and Pro-Ams is we're going to pick one each of the Pro, from the Pro field and the Pro-Am field. So, Gary, you will have one nomination from each class. I will have one nomination from each class. We're going to have a vote overall. So we're awarding one driver of the day per race, not one per class. I think this is a way to mix it up and not give so many dollars potentially to the Pro guys, make them have to work for driver of the day, and give these Pro-Am guys a fair shot.
That's definitely a very, very good idea. That's something that should be done pretty much overall in pretty much anything multi-class. So a very cool concept. I'm usually used to only one car type being driver of the day, and most people can probably immediately know what I'm talking about just by saying that. So it's very good to include both drivers, because especially the Pro-Am drivers, they definitely deserve some recognition as well.
There's a car in between, a battle for position here. Ryan Kerr, Scott Reister, with Jackson Resende, it looks like, just in between. No, that's a 69, actually. That is Bruno DeCarmo in between them, as Reister runs in 7th and Ryan Kerr runs in 6th. But yeah, so that driver of the day vote will begin at the 25-minute mark. We'll start here in 4 minutes or so. We might even wait until just after the pit cycle, go through our nominations, and have that vote up on YouTube here shortly. That will run through the end of our results. So make sure to vote quickly in that, as Scott Reister gives way to Giuliano Romagnolo. Make that now 31st to 7th as Bruno DeCarmo bins it. Turn 12.
On those blinking you miss it things,
Yeah.
It's not the first person I've seen that wrecked at turn 12. But man, that's really disheartening.
Really strong driver here for Texaco Racing by TK. Just got deep in turn 12 and chose the earliest barrier to stuff that car and call it a day. It's been a rough day for Texaco Racing by TK. They do have second place Gustavo Ariel, but for the most part, their super team has been decimated. I mean, Jackson Resende, the mistakes on lap 1. I don't see Victor Miranda out here for them this season. But of course, Bruno de Carmo, we just watched, head on to the into the barrier there. It's been a really rough day at the office already for Texaco Racing by Tony Kanaan. Hopefully they can turn things around next week at Imola and get back on track. And they do have a couple of drops, and everybody in the league has a couple of drops for the season, but you don't want to have to use them race 1.
Yeah, it's really the highly least ideal option. You want to get through race 1, get yourself sorted, but you know, sometimes, at least especially with the case I've seen, some drivers' had their races messed up relatively early, unfortunately.
By the way, good to see Matthew Dench out in the chat. We do see the YouTube chat popping off, and appreciate all of you tuning in. Jesse Olson, of course, Kayla Rondo, Wayne Castile, John B, Blue Your Boy, Crisley Chris, Zach Rosar, Jelly for Sale, Dega, a whole lot of you guys out in the chat. It is appreciated. By all means, if you haven't chimed in yet, or if I didn't say your name, chime in. Let us know where you're watching from, who you're pulling for in this brand new season of North American Racing League Porsche Cup action. Here is Giuliano Romagnolo, 7th place, chasing down reigning Pro-Am champ. Won't be defending, though, as he has moved up to the Pro category, and rightly so. Ryan Kerr in the 6th position. A really strong day for him so far.
He's been doing great. On paper, he's only been up for 2 positions, so he started 8th. Not doing too bad, but directly behind him, he has, of course, he has Giuliano just sitting right there, looking for that 25th spot that he's gained, at least for the 55. So far, only 24, only 24, let me rephrase that, 24 positions gained, and definitely keep an eye out for him. He's the one that made it through the big wreck that we had, well, big 2 wrecks, essentially, and both turns 1 and 2, as well as turn 3, so he's been doing fantastic so far.
The thing to keep in mind here is Giuliano Romagnolo, while yes, he is a fiery pro driver, he is the driver coach over at Radness M Squad. So he coaches guys like Ryan Kerr, gets them faster, gets them better, and I think that's why we're seeing Ryan currently run 6th. So if anything, Giuliano is going to be his normal teacher self and probably turn this into a lesson for the 01 car of Ryan Kerr and try to help him out, try to show him a few things, make sure he can get the best effort out of things. And, you know, sometimes we see Giuliano have to miss a race. Of course, he's got his Porsche Esports Canada duties on some Thursday evenings. So there's a lot going on, and it is good to see, by the way, the Porsche Center Oakville tag there on the nose of the car. It's good to see that kind of crossover. This is the level that the North American Racing League is at. You've got pro Porsche Esports drivers in this field.
I like that. This will probably turn into an impromptu lesson for Ryan as well. It's one of those, what do you do if you have somebody sitting directly in your mirror for, well, how long has it been? Probably 5-6 laps on end. So it's a very good focus lesson, essentially. A very good impromptu focus lesson for Ryan Kerr. Occasionally glance at the mirror, make sure everything's fine, and then just really don't really pay too much attention to the driver behind. But in cases like this, you definitely want to. No pass for position. He thought about it, though.
Just had a Lando Norris, not Lando Norris, who am I thinking? Lance Stroll Monaco moment for a brief second. Glad we came back to it. But no pass here yet. And Stu gets in deep, and he turns his student. And I guess it was a lesson in how to get turned around in turn 11. Boy, I think Stu just got in a little bit hot.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. That's not too much damage as we see here on the back bumper of Ryan Kerr. So I'm pretty sure we'll definitely talk that out and just get some understanding. But Giuliano was absolutely going for it there as we ride on board now of Marcos Saavedra. Every time, these names are always going to get me. Saavedra. So I was thinking correctly, but I was like, no, that can't be it. These names always get me every time.
Saavedra currently running in the 5th position. Let's go ahead and start our nominations for driver of the day as we've passed the halfway mark by a minute and change. And these guys, we don't know exactly when they're pitting, probably around minute 17 or so if I had to guess. Gary, I'm going to put you on the spot. First up, your Pro-Am nomination.
Pro-Am nomination. Oh boy. Well, let's see. I could cheat and just go with the driver that's running first place, but that's not too entirely fair. I'm looking through right now. Who do we have?
Well, currently leading is Luan Hot, and he is gapped the field. Would be a solid pick. I think also Thomas Rayleigh has been a big-time improvement. At the same time, Robert Pendergast, teammates with Rayleigh, first race ever in this series. Really solid run out of Robert. Some really good options there throughout the field. Even Stacy Bertrand, a big improvement on her racing, as you see this whole line. Bradley Alvis, Stacy Bertrand, Miguel Colon, Adam Hartzell, full of drivers worth mentioning.
I'm going to go with Bradley Alvis. He is, I believe, I might be incorrect here, but I believe he's the highest, the driver to have the highest positions gained. Sitting in Pro-Am, of course, it's going to be a little bit weird, essentially, but he has 13 positions gained from where he started in this event. So far, pulling strong, about, I believe, let's see, about, I believe, 5th in class, actually, so doing a fantastic job so far. So I'll go with Alvis for my Pro-Am pick.
Here we go, Bradley Alvis. And this is where we get to live TV for a moment. I'm typing this in live. So Bradley Alvis is an option. My Pro-Am driver is going to have to be Thomas Rayleigh. I really did not expect this kind of massive improvement out of him. And I'm very, very proud to see somebody that has had struggles in the past really light things up. Thomas really deserves this nomination, I feel, if not the vote as well. Car 420 is showing up, showing out. And hopefully he's able to close this one out. 22 minutes or so to go. I'll move up to Pro, and I'll take the first Pro driver, I suppose, and give you an option afterwards. Quite frankly, and it's tough. Ryan Kerr would be a great option, moved up from the Pro-Am class. Love 46 is putting up a great performance. Dino Filippa, Gustavo Ariel, I mean, a lot of great options. I think I have to go Ricardo Rico. I don't see how you go against this guy right now. He's led every single lap of this race, navigated everything on the start of the race by simply being on pole and driving away. Sometimes you just have to go with the guy who's up top.
I'm going to do the exact opposite of that, in some cases at least. I do understand that entirely, though. He has put in a fantastic performance, the entire top 3. My pick is going to be Giuliano... Whose last time I still cannot get in my head. Romagnolo. That's every time. Phonetic pronunciation always kicks in for my brain. But yes, Romagnolo is someone that I would have to. I can't not go with him.
That's fair.
Especially with the start that he's had, and especially how he's been running so far. He's definitely proven the again 25 positions up from where he started, and most of which was of course from the opening lap. But he's been consistent, and he's been showing that he does have the pace to be up here. We could possibly, maybe, hopefully see him in the top 5 by the end of the race.
We'll see, as he has picked up 25 spots and potentially counting. Some pit stops underway, one of those being from Bradley Alvis, your Pro-Am nominee. In the pit lane currently in car 296. And taking service for Sende. Troubles out of turn 1. It's been a day to forget for Texaco Racing by TK, unless your name is Gustavo Ariel in the second position. A really, really rough day for a lot of those guys. Right behind Rosende, you see John Sedlak, by the way, from Firelight Esports. Worth a shout out to those guys at Firelight. If you see our thumbnails throughout most of our NASCAR style racing, you'll see a paint scheme that is a Firelight Esports paint. Glad to be a member of that team, and always glad to see the colors on the racetrack for Firelight. And Firelight Records, Firelight, I gotta think here. Oh, why am I'm blanking. This is why I need to get studied up. I'm sure John could help me out here. I'm trying to think of the clothing brand. Oh,
IMB Racewear.
Yes, that's one of the sponsors. They actually launched their own. And why can I not think of it? Oh, man. Josh Stiles is going to hate me. Light Stuff. Lightstuff.gg. There we go. Light Stuff. LITESTUFF. Light Stuff. Hopefully John doesn't stuff it in a barrier as Miguel Colon heads down to the pit lane.
Hopefully, John, if he does end up in the berry, he does it in a very, very light manner.
Ah!
I'm so sorry.
Hopefully he doesn't catch on fire.
I know. Oh my gosh, I know. I know someone out there is just sighed in disappointment.
Well,
I'm
I think those guys are watching.
I couldn't pass it up. I couldn't pass it up.
If not, they should be. And if they aren't, I'm disappointed in my teammates. But anyways, Miguel Colon in the pit lane, waiting on his exit. Long time in the pits for these guys, and I think this is going to be a repair stop. Might have forgotten to turn the fast repair on. Miguel Colon sitting in the pit lane for a very long time. That is certainly out of the ordinary. Adam Hartzell in a long line of race cars down the backstretch. Stacy Bertrand 13th, Adam Hartzell in 14th, Matthew O'Leary in 15th, and then actually this kind of battle is blown up a little bit, has spaced out. But Hartzell, in his first ever North American Racing League start, running 14th. No, I mean, that is just, that's solid. No complaints there for car 81.
A really very good-looking livery too. Unfortunately, it's a bit just a bit squished up on the back end, but nothing a fast repair couldn't fix. I wonder, Cologne's still sitting in pit road, so there must be something else happening, unfortunately. So hopefully everything's all right. Might be a hardware thing as well, but not the way you really want to end the race.
Here comes Matthew O'Leary, Martin Gramigna as well onto the pit lane. Gramigna was that car that backed up into traffic in turn 3, but thankfully he has turned his own day around and is in the top 15 before pits. So we'll see when Gramigna leaves, and there we go, 10.9 seconds in the box. For Matthew O'Leary, let's see what it is. 9.4 seconds in the box, a faster stop there for Matthew O'Leary. No fast repair taken for that driver. He's keeping it just in case he needs it. Certainly can't blame him. There's Dominic Turcotte into the pit lane, car 73.
Oh no, wait, O'Leary just, oh no.
Oh my goodness.
There was a car that was, Martin
Gramigna.
Why can't I pronounce names today? Thank you, Gramigna. Car number 23, we'll go with that. He spun on pit exit.
Oh,
and O'Leary just wasn't expecting it.
Here's the replay. Matthew O'Leary in the 18 car, already having a rough day. Watch for Gramigna in the 23 on exit. Spun around there. O'Leary not expecting it. Runs right in the back of him and flips the 23 onto his side. Oh, man.
Remember what you said about O'Leary needing that fast repair?
Yep, that's why you save it.
You weren't wrong.
Yeah, that's why Gramigna, I think, should have kept it. You see live why you save that fast repair if you can. Here's Gramigna. Just lit up the rears a little too soon. And then hit. Wow.
Oh, I don't think Gramigna couldn't have done much there. He did sit there for a bit. He did wait. Yeah. And the second he tried to start, he started moving. O'Leary was just right there. So that's something that I've also done during practice. Is you light up the rear tires and you just immediately spin.
Jackson Resende joining these guys in the pit lane has towed to the pits. Here is Ricardo Rico though, into the pit lane himself, and in for service from the race lead. Such a strong start to this race. I have to say, I think we're already seeing your top three for the championship. Ricardo Rico, Gustavo Ariel, Dino Filippa. Dino's got his work cut out for him, though, if he wants to defend.
It's definitely going to have to drive the wheels off the car. Not quite literally. We'll see as Ricardo Rico leaves pit road. Stays just within that blue line, which is very, very key here. If you do cross that white line or the blue line, essentially, the blue line pretty much marks the point where you can very safely merge onto the track. And that white line is something you obviously do not cross. If you do, I believe, I can't remember specifically, it might be a stop and hold penalty, as you see the 55 leaving pit road. 9.72 second pit stop, so roughly about 8 seconds, 8.5 seconds to about 10 seconds for these fuel stops.
There's a look at Ryan Kerr, also in and away. Robert Pendergast on the pit lane. His teammate Thomas Raitley pitted about 5 laps ago, a little bit earlier on. But with 14 minutes to go, we're finally seeing these pits wrap up. And yeah, these guys have stretched the fuel run out a little bit. Very much to be expected and not exactly surprising by any means. Awaiting, though, Gustavo Ariel here. He comes down into the pit lane in car 12, brings Dino Filippa along with. And I'd imagine Lawrence Zavadil will be quick to follow. Yes, there's Lawrence, there's Saavedra. Here is the money lap for everybody else.
And Rico already pit, so we'll see where he sorts out in all of this, because he currently sits 5th.
Porsche Esports driver Gustavo Ariel for Texaco Racing by TK. You see the faster pair there for Dino Filippa, car number 1. That is your defending champion. An adjustment there in the box for Marco Saavedra. Dino Filippa down on the way following Gustavo Ariel. No change there. There's Marco Saavedra and has to back up again. Lorenz Zavidil, 9.73 seconds. As here is your race lead down Central Avenue. The battles side by side out of the pit lane. Ricardo Rico, Gustavo Ariel. Ricardo has the nose into the corner, but on the outside lane. Gustavo there on the inside has the inside for the next quarter as well in turn 4.
Side by side, and just like that, sliding right across Gustavo Ariel.
It's not over.
Doesn't have the lead.
Oh,
wow.
Very close between these guys, and Gustavo pulling out every stop of defense here to stay ahead of Ricardo. But here comes a big run from the 51 car, and Gustavo's trying to block it. He does. For now.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not over. He had the lead for a bit to the left-hand side, rather. Down into the braking zone of turn 6. Do they make it? Yes. And wow, it was Ariel doing a fantastic defensive drive. Rico makes contact. Does he keep it off the wall? Just enough. That's a tricky spot.
Wow, and there goes your battle for the race win. That is so unfortunate for Ricardo Rico. Dominant until the pit stop. Oh, it comes right over in front of Armando Bejaran, but Ricardo will hang on to a top 5 so long as he keeps it together from here. Oh, so unfortunate.
That was such a good battle while it lasted, too.
Here's a replay. And we'll go on board with car 51, Ricardo Rico, as Luan Hot now has the problem on track. But the big moment here. Luan Hot, actually, we'll go to that in a moment. That is your Pro-Am leader, so that is very important. But here's the replay for Ricardo Rico and Gustavo Ariel for the race lead.
I think he ran out of fuel.
Oh my goodness. Here's the moment for Ricardo Rico, turn 7, dives down to the inside of turn 8, gets into the back of Gustavo and goes for a spin. That is so unfortunate. And now Luan Hot. Let's find Luan in this field. Car 25. Oh yes, out of fuel. You're absolutely right. This is stuttering in turn 7 and 8. That's a long ways to coast, and it does not work out. Heartbreak. Would have had this race completely wrapped up. I wonder if he just forgot to pit or what was going on there.
I wonder if he's trying to stretch it out to the very, very end of that run, and you just came up about, what, that's maybe a quarter of a lap too short.
I'd say a third of the lap, really.
Oh yeah, man. You're right.
That is heartbreaking for Luan Hot. Had this race completely wrapped up. However, you know those guys I was talking about earlier, Thomas Rayleigh, Robert Pendergast, that were but second and third, making up most of the podium in Pro-Am. Well, Thomas Rayleigh is now your Pro-Am race leader and is just 10.5 minutes away from a win in class. And he's got 8.8 seconds on his teammate, who is second, right ahead of Fabio Zamperlini for overall position. One man's misfortune is another man's breakthrough.
And no doubt we'll see how well this helps him out, because it's going to be it's going to be absolutely wild here, as Zamperlini sits right on the back bumper. And believe, like you mentioned earlier, Andrew, as well, is that all of the points, even for the all classes, are basically fighting for overall points. So it's not going to be class points; it's overall.
Yes, you're absolutely right. These guys battle for overall positions for their points earned in a race. That means that it's very important here for Rayleigh to try and hang on, Pendergast to hang on to that spot, but Pendergast allows Fabio Zamperlini to go by anyways, as, well, things have changed. Dino Filippa, the IRS machine, right on the back end here of our race leader, as the 12 tries to navigate past the 112, it looks like, of Zach Deus. This is very congested racetrack in the middle of the field. I got for the race lead, but trying to pass lap cars in the middle of the field.
Dino Filippa had at least set a faster lap, especially last time, by about half a tenth faster than Gustavo Ariel, and he set the fastest lap overall, which we saw pop up at the top of the screen a little bit ago. This is going to be a very tricky situation. No doubt the lap car going to move out of the way here as the leaders come through turns 1 and 2. About 10th faster last time was Filippa.
Ariel trying to pass one more lapped car. I believe that is Rob Campbell, and it is, letting these guys go by on Central Avenue. So Gustavo Ariel able to get out of there with an extra half-tenth or so to what he had when they were in the midst of the lap prior. 8.5 minutes to go. Somewhere about 6 laps. And this, the closest battle on the racetrack currently.
If anything happens between these two, Zavaldi is not too far behind. About, well, depends on how you want to look at it. 6.7 seconds back from Filippa, 7.2 back from Ariel.
Watching these two battle in this top of the order. Do want to give a shout out to our partners here for the series this season. IRS, I saw it earlier, and it's on the back end of Filippa's car, actually, if we can get a look at it. I completely forgot it, and, well, I didn't get a very good look at it there. Let's see if I can get one more look at it here for the brand new partner. I got to get this one down. It's escaped me. I believe that is Integra Racing Setups, I believe, the new setup partner of the North American Racing League. Got to get that one down. It's escaping my mind now for the moment, but Dino Filippa driving their colors along with Marcus Saavedra in 4th position. And brand new setup partner for the amateur series, brand new setup provider if the pros want to use it in the Pro-Am race. IRS now partnered with the North American Racing League as Dina swerves a little bit, trying to get the line here on Gustavo Ariel. It's not going to work out, but Dino Filippa definitely giving it his best effort. We'll quickly go through these then. Muradness M Squad partnering with the series as well. A longtime partner along with JS Consulting and Screw Compressor Service Incorporated. This is really good stuff, though, for the race win. Just inside of 7 minutes to go as Saavedra gives up a spot to Ricardo Rico.
Riding on board here with Dino Filippa as they come down to the braking zone. Does Filippa decide to make a pass? I'd say no. He's a bit too far back, and he does decide to lay back just enough. Probably trying to get a run through the, I want to say a pseudo fountain section, essentially. This is kind of what it reminds me of for Long Beach here. Is just a very, very long, extended section here that kind of arcs around. No fountain.
Whoa!
One dive. Oh, no.
Wow! The champion just made a move that was never going to work, and they're still making contact. Are you kidding me?
Here comes Zavaldi through the middle.
Zavadil straight through. Here comes Rico. Oh, my goodness. What are we doing? Unbelievable development here. Gustavo Ariel, I'm sure, is beyond livid. What in the world just happened between Dino Filippa, reigning champion, and Gustavo Ariel for the race win? I mean, I don't know where Dino thought that car was going to fit.
And what happened with this? Oh my goodness.
And there goes Lawrence Zavadil right through.
Why? Okay. I feel like that's a bit much on Filippa there. I think, especially with the contact there to Ariel, that's the most. Not only is it the worst place to do that, but also that just didn't work.
I hate to bring these kinds of cards out in race one. I don't know if Dino missed his braking point or what was going on here. But there was no way that was ever going to work. And then there's contact. I don't know if he was trying to move over into Gustavo there. Maybe the car was broken. Zavadil goes through it. Unfortunately, this mess, there's nowhere really for Ricardo Rico to go through.
Zavadil should, or not Zavadil, Filippa definitely should have sat there and just waited.
Let's go on board with Ricardo Rico. This is a little before it gets to it, so kind of bear with us here. This is turn 7. And so everything is happening up ahead. In fact, here's the onboard for Lawrence Zavadil, going straight through it all. Watch this. Driver out of the West Coast, right through the middle. Ricardo Rico, not so lucky. I mean, where is he going to go?
Oh, that closed up right as he got there, too.
Incredible. And then Rico made a little bit of contact with Marco Saavedra, by the way, after the fact. But that was just those guys trying to hang on and get back going. Now, suddenly, center stage. Lawrence Zavadil for SimCity Racing, car 24. Sure, it's by some circumstances, but that's how racing goes. He's got 7 seconds to this guy, Marco Saavedra, in the 99 car. Gustavo Ariel is still third, but Giuliano Romagnolo is going to be closing. And Deus had a moment there, but what an opportunity suddenly for Lawrence Zavadil, somebody we've spoken with over the seasons, has gone through a couple of teams, has found his home, it seems like, here with SimCity Racing, and has really built himself something here in the North American Racing League, has become a top driver in this series, and clearly has got something figured out. Was third place, or I think fourth, for this to even happen, was in the right spot anyways. I mean, this is perfect situation here for Lawrence Zavadil.
Oh, remember what I said? Yeah, he was sitting there if anything did happen between Filippo and Ariel. Not exactly what I expected to happen, but I was more expecting that in the case of if those two started battling. But great job for Zavadil just to keep his car clean to be in that spot. And real quick, also apologies to Zavadil for accidentally pronouncing it as Zavaldi. Letters are hard to read sometimes.
Oh, that they are. I don't think that's going to be any worry at all. Here's John Sedlak and Johan Shirazi for 13th spot. Shirazi, a pro driver, Sedlak Pro-Am. And it looks like this is currently the closest battle on the racetrack. Maybe not. Now, as Aubrey Kundal draws closer to Bradley Alvis and John Sedlak, 3 Pro-Am drivers in a row. Sedlak, Alvis, Kundal.
Does make up, I was going to say 3rd, 4th, and 5th, but it's actually 4th, 5th, and 6th for Sedlak, Alvis, and Kundal. So we'll see how these drivers fare as looks to the left-hand side or right-hand side for split second. Alvis does retain P15 overall.
Just under 100 seconds to go in the race. Aubrey Kundal here in the 16th position. And we should be taking the white flag this next time by, and we will be. That's going to be a 33-lap race when it's all said and done. Lawrence Zavadil out of turn 14 this time by. A white flag in the air for the driver off the West Coast. What an opportunity he's been given this evening. This is incredible. Still don't know what just happened between Dino Filippa and Gustavo Ariel to even start that. By the way, it's Infinite Racing Services. Had that a bit messed up, but I apologize for sure. Glad we got that straightened out. But for this driver on screen, Lawrence Zavadil, to suddenly be in this position, to have a win thrust upon him like this, 5,000 I rating, one of the lower I ratings actually out of the pro class. A driver out of Colorado, he's got himself a real Miata in the real world. Well, this is far from Miata, Gary, but I think he'll take it.
It's definitely not a Miata, but you know what? If a win is a win, even in the most odd, if not most unfortunate circumstances, but definitely deserved by Zavadil. He definitely would have gotten probably P2 or P3 if everything stayed clean, no doubt. But this is well deserved.
You're right, very much deserved, very much will be accepted here for Lawrence as he looks to close this race. He's got by Lawrence and Dalton a few times. I think Dalton might be his middle name, not sure. Maybe Lawrence is his middle name, Dalton Lawrence. I'm not sure, but regardless, Zavadil is going to close out a stellar effort. A little further back, your Pro-Am race leader currently is Thomas Rayleigh by 10 seconds or so to his teammate, so no change will happen there, as here we go, officially checkered flag for the 24 car Zavadil going to victory lane at Detroit. And a battle back here. This is for 5th and 6th. Scott Rice to Ricardo. Rico puts it in the fence. Oh no! That's going to be a lot of spots. He's going to try to get back rolling. Actually, I think he's going to be okay. He's not going to lose anything. Ryan Kerr 10 seconds behind him, but that secures a top 5 for Scott Reister right behind Giuliano Romagnolo, who picked up 27 spots on the grid. Unbelievable stuff. As here's a look at your Pro-Am race winner to be. Thomas Rayleigh, it's all on the throttle from here, and car 420 in race 1 is going to victory lane.
And he finishes in the top 10, P9 as well. What a fantastic job. 10 positions up.
And his teammate making his debut in the North American Racing League will go 11th overall, second in class. Those guys are on top of Pro-Am in the North American Racing League. Here's Adam Hartzell, also making his first start, third in Pro-Am, 12th on the racetrack. Amazing run for him. And to close out the lead lap, it's going to be Johan Shirazi from Geodesic and John Sedlak from Firelight Esports carrying the torch there. He finishes 14th on the lead lap, and the race goes official. Lawrence Zavadil, you are a North American Racing League race winner. This is huge. Somebody who has come through the last few seasons and really picked up. He's going to burn it down. We don't see this very often, but I think he's going to try to burn it down.
I think he tried. The wheels are they've been impossible to spin at times because of the traction control. But definitely
turn the limiter on.
That's
Limiter will negate that traction control. He's trying to. There we go.
There he goes.
Unbelievable. I think the excitement is real. SimCity Racing has got reason to celebrate this evening. Unbelievable stuff. And we'll be talking to the top 2 drivers from each class that join our Discord channel. So drivers, it is on you to get here promptly. We may move on as we've got so much to go through this evening. But let's talk about our unofficial race results. Lawrence Zavadil on top. Unbelievable. Unbelievable the circumstances that give him this race win, but he'll happily take about 9 seconds over Infinite Racing Services driver Marco Saavedra. Gustavo Ariel hangs on for third. Not the podium he wanted, but a podium I think he will take when it's all said and done. Giuliano Romagnolo Stu from 31st on the grid, by the way, 4th. Ahead of Scott Reister, who grabs the top 5. Ricardo Rico there in 6th. Ryan Kerr 7th. Love 46, by the way. Hopefully she's watching or watches this back. Props to Love 46. I know she's had some struggles kind of from that 10th to 20th range. I think showing that she has finally hit her groove here in the North American Racing League, and that is oh so good to do from race number 1 in a season. And how about Thomas Rayleigh? That Pro-Am race win, the lone Pro-Am driver in the top 10. Phenomenal run from car 420, right ahead of Fabio Zamperlini.
And then the rest of most of the program are pretty much the polar opposite of what we just saw with the top 10. Robert Pendergast finishing second for the Pro-Am class, with Adam Hartzell finishing 12th place, 3rd place overall for the Pro-Am class. And then Johan Shirazi, not the worst day to be fair. He started 13th, finished 13th, so on paper, not the worst thing to ever happen to him. John Sedlak, 11 positions up from where he started. He finished in 14th. Aubrey Kundal was gained 8 positions. Rob Campbell gained 6 positions. Zachary Deas, despite all the faults that he had dealt with throughout the opening of the race and a little bit throughout as well, he still manages to finish in 17th, also 11 positions up from where he started. Dominic Turcotte, we haven't really seen most of all day. Very quiet day, but that doesn't mean it's too bad. Also 11 positions gained. Luan Hott ran into some issues as well. Lost 4 positions, still managed a top 20, so finishing 19th. And then Stacy Bertrand finishing 20th. Again, quiet day on paper. Didn't really gain or lose any positions.
Finishing 21st, it is Dan Willis in car 127. Alec Bergstrom in his debut goes 22nd. Scott Angelo 23rd, Miguel Colon 24th, and Bradley Alvis rounds out your top 25. Issues late there for Alvis in the 296. Dino Filippa still confused as to what was going on there in his mind in turn 11. Hopefully is able to build from that, turn things around, and get going next week at Imola. Armando Bayheron goes 27th, 9 laps down, and then you get all of these heartbreak moments for guys like Jackson Resende, Martin Gramigna, Matthew O'Leary, Bruno DeCarmo, Jake Luther, and Bobby Flack did not start this race. Lawrence Zavadil, Dalton Zavadil, whichever one it is, as, by the way, Giuliano Romagnolo is confirmed as your driver of the day today, fitting there for car 55, but Zavadil, whether it's Lawrence or Dalton, Zavadil going to victory lane. How does that sound? Dalton, Lawrence, we're going to go with Dalton. You are a North American Racing League Pro race winner. How does that feel, first of all?
Oh my god, dude, it feels so amazing to beat Gustavo Ariel and Dino Filippa and Marco Saavedra. I literally went into this race thinking, okay, 5th overall, let's go. It's great. And I knew Dino and Gustavo were getting close I feel like both of them have a bit of a reputation of being too aggressive, so I kind of saw it coming. I took my chance and I just went for it. I was so happy. Oh my gosh, I am reeling. I am so excited. That's my first ever pro win. Oh man, what a race.
And what does this mean for SimCity Racing as a whole?
Oh, this is probably, well, this is by far my best performance with SimCity Racing so far. This is probably our best performance of the year so far. This really just goes to show just how great our team is and how much effort and work we put in to get these wins, and really put out a good product out here and show everybody that we mean business. So I mean, really great thanks to my whole team and SCR as a whole. Like, these guys have just been so awesome and cheering me on and helping me out and being able to learn and get better as a driver, and it's really paying off.
And of course, you touched on it a little bit, the moment between Gustavo Ariel and Dino Felipe. Of course, you didn't see it happen right away, but you saw the aftermath and drove right through the aftermath. What did you see from your perspective? What did it sound like? Was there any chatter over driver radio? And just what do you take from that as a whole?
No driver radio. I just saw two cars sideways on either side of the racetrack, and I was just like, oh boy, I'm sitting in third place. I gotta just slow down for a second and just go right through them. I didn't even realize that it was Dino and Gustavo at first. Once I realized I was in first place, it was Jim telling me and crew chief, "You're in first place." I was like, wait, what? How? So it was, oh my gosh, an absolute miracle, and oh man, dream come true.
Dalton, congratulations. I can't imagine. I mean, this is a big-time payday, along with just the honors of now being a race winner. You're the points leader going into Imola next week. Everything right now is going right. You've just got to keep it here and keep this momentum rolling into Imola in every round through this season. Congratulations. Best of luck to you. Party hard. Maybe not too hard. You got to practice for Imola next week, but party hard, buddy.
Yeah, no kidding. Thanks, man. I will. Have a good one, guys.
This is really, really cool to see Zavadil a race winner here in Pro Class. After a while, after enough seasons of racing, this is the 7th season of racing between GT3 and Porsche Cup Racing. They almost start to feel like your kids, Gary, where you get to watch them progress through these series, join the series, get a few wins, maybe move up through the classes from amateur to pro-am to pro. And there is something so rewarding about seeing Dalton Zavadil go to victory lane in the North American Racing League in pro category. That is huge, and so cool to see. That said, he gets it done right in front of this guy from Infinite Racing Services, Marcos Saavedra. And, I don't recall his preferred language here, Gary, but Marcos' second place has got to be ecstatic.
Oh, no doubt. Definitely finishing second place is a great job. And not only that, but I think, if anything, really, the most notable thing for you, Saavedra, was that you ended up overshooting your pit box, reversed a little bit, and then right when you were released, you reversed by accident, and then you got back going forward very quickly. So overall, a very great day for you, starting fourth, finishing on the podium.
Hey guys, yeah, well, how the race went, it was like an amazing result. I mean, just at the beginning, when I literally didn't practice how to start the car, I forgot. It sounds dumb, but it's what it is. And then breaking the car on just my first lap, going wide on that third turn, having a broken car just until the pit stop, having to reverse on the pit stop, and then I forgot to put first, and I actually reversed when I went out of the pit box instead of going forward, and it was just complete carnage for me.
And there was definitely a lot of carnage on the not only the opening lap, but throughout the race as well. How was the setup tuned, at least to your locking? Did you think more aggressive, more top speed? What were your thoughts heading in?
Well, the top speed between all the more or less like fast setups is basically almost the same. You're like almost minimal wing on almost the track, so it's like the setup was really good. I mean, it was as good as I could touch it. So it was pretty aggressive, but more on the average side, I think, just to try to survive on this like really hard track. Just when you touch just one wall and it's almost over. Thank God there's a fast repair, because if not, then I for sure would have ended the race. So that's great.
And of course, next week we do head to Imola. So, carrying, what are your thoughts on carrying your momentum from this race into Imola? What are you thinking about? Are you going to be? What are you really looking to practice with?
Well, for start, I practice how to actually start the race so that I can actually have a chance to follow and fight for the podium, because I think the pace was good today, but I just completely messed up from the beginning. So I'll practice a bit more. Imola, I really like the track, so I actually enjoy practicing Imola instead of Belle Isle, where I really struggle actually. I really like experience on this track, so I'm really looking forward for the next track.
Even with the lack of experience, you still finish. You still end up finishing second place. So a fantastic job by you today.
Yeah, it was more like a surviving kind of race, but yeah, at least I had a good result.
Well, that is Marco Saavedra, Andrew, finishing second place. A great job, and even with the last 3 or so corners, ending up with a broken right front, still finishes in second place without any practice and walls surrounding him. Hopefully, Imola will treat him a lot better.
That's the hope, and certainly a great run for Marcos this evening. Let's move on down to the Pro-Am category, though, where Thomas Rayleigh is your winner this evening. You know what? I'm going to call an audible. We're going to do a team interview, because I don't think we have many moments in the North American Racing League where we have a team, especially in Pro-Am, sweep the top 2 spots. But boys, congratulations. Pat yourselves on the back. Thomas, I know you've been around for a little while in NARL. Robert, this is your first start that I've seen, and I've broadcasted all these races. Congratulations to both of you guys here. This is seriously impressive, and I think big for EFM, Epic Fails Motorsports. Thomas, I'm going to start with you. You simply played it quietly. Eventually, you got past your teammate Robert somewhere in the mid portion of this race. You pitted a little bit early, but you raced the racetrack, something so important in this kind of race and on this kind of track. What worked for you? What didn't work for you? To place like Detroit is so tough.
Well, just clicking down the laps. I put a lot of practice in on the track. I put like 6 hours of practice in. Did a coaching lesson with Suelio Almeida. I told him I'd shout him out if I won the race. We did it. And just got past lap 1 carnage. I did end up bumping the wall. It hurt my car a little bit, but for the most of the race, I was sitting by myself, just clicking down the laps, and luckily the pace was good. And something happened to the other Pro-Am leaders, because I know there were some people ahead of Robert and I for a long time there, but we did it.
One of our keys to the race for the amateurs was to race the racetrack before all else, and that's what you guys did, and you certainly applied it to this Pro-Am category. Robert, a brand new foray for you, it looks like, into sim racing, brand new to the North American Racing League. You certainly wore that hat nicely, going 11th overall in a stacked field. What is it like to have, obviously, the help here of Thomas Rayleigh, a veteran in the series, and also bring whatever you have to the table, combine that, and it seems like you guys are pretty solid on the racetrack.
Yeah, Thomas has been awesome. He brought me into the Epic Fails team, and the key there is to keep the car alive. That's what they're all about. They do a lot of endurance, special events, and I can't believe we survived all that carnage. Not for that, there's no race.
Absolutely. To finish first, you must first finish. And, well, you guys did a fantastic job of just staying alive this evening. That's what it's all about. Over to you. Actually, we'll give you each a chance here. Thomas, you first, then Robert. A really diverse schedule this season. You go to Imola next. Your first trip to Italy. There's 2. Imola, then Monza combined later on. How do you feel at Imola? Is it a track you do like, don't like, or is there somewhere else on the schedule that you're really looking forward to kind of repeat this performance?
I'm excited to run Imola, because the last time I ran Imola, I wasn't that great at it. So I want to prove myself wrong and get some good pace and get another win.
And Robert, over to you.
Okay, I don't particularly care for Imola, but I think I've upped my game in the gear and the training side of things. So I'm looking forward to it. The chicanes are tricky, but it should be fun. That's for sure.
And you know what, Thomas, you kind of mentioned something already. The last time you ran at Imola, you weren't so great. In your own words, we have seen a big-time improvement for you just from last season in GT3 cars to this season in Porsche Cup cars. Is it something about this car, or is it those test sessions with Swelio? What does it for you? What has you so quick all of a sudden this season and clearly on top of your game?
The real secret is Suelio. He has a sim racing checklist course that's like 130 videos of explaining things very clearly and concisely in a way that I can understand to help me understand why the car is going fast and drive the car instead of react to it. That added on with a one-on-one coaching session last week, and it really just solidified the driving style that you really need to go as fast as a lot of these guys. And I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season. Want to keep applying those lessons.
And I'll shoot over to you, Robert, here to close this thing out. Brand new to the series, brand new to the team. What are you most looking forward to this season in your first series, your first run here with the North American Racing League?
Well, I already succeeded in not taking anybody out and not crashing. So those were my goals this race, and I'm going to just continue on consistency from here on.
I like it. Congratulations again to both of you guys. I am so impressed here with the start of the season. It does mean you kind of have to keep it up, but you guys really have turned some heads this evening. I mentioned with Dalton Zalfadil picking up the pro win, it feels like almost your kids watching different guys in the field over the course of seasons, Thomas, pick up, and then suddenly the light bulb turns on, something clicks, and just suddenly the speed is opened up, the floodgates are opened up for speed, and I feel like that's what's happened for you this season. It's so cool to see you in the top 10. In the pro race, this stacked field, I know circumstances, attrition, take a few cars out, but you had to keep yourself in the race to go top 10. Congratulations, seriously, to both of you guys. It is so cool to see, and really a cool place to start the season off. Congrats, guys. Hopefully we're talking to you next week in Italy.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thomas Rayleigh, Robert Pendergrast from Epic Fails Motorsports. I'm legitimately so impressed. It is so cool to see so many good stories in this race this evening. Gary, I know you're brand new to the series, green, if you will, to the North American Racing League, but it is so cool to see a series over the course of 7 seasons now, see all these drivers progress over the course of it, and be able to watch hard work at play take effect and these big results happen. So cool. It's just I can't overstate that, I guess, enough, understate, whatever. I can't stress that enough.
After all of that, I think they should probably consider changing their name to Epic Win Motorsports.
Yes,
but,
Epic Dub. Yes.
Well, we'll see how that goes. But man, this was an experience. Being in the amateur race as well as watching the pro race. It's oddly enough, it's like it literally is 2 completely different races, but it's like you're seeing it on 2 completely different tracks more than anything, and it's very fascinating. For Imola, I love that track, so I'm looking forward to that one the most for next week, but also I'm a bit terrified, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, Imola, it's a Formula 1 track now, once again. It used to be, of course, for years, as it went off the schedule eventually and then came back through COVID, really. And now we have Imola back, which is a great thing, by the way. It's good to have Imola back in Formula 1, but it's a weird course. It's very much a throwback circuit. Definitely has that older feel. Of course, has some of the more modern chicanes for safety, but for these Porsche Cup cars, it's really not a very long lap at all, is it? Even Formula 1, it's one of the shorter courses I think Formula 1 goes to, and those laps click off one after the other. Much like Detroit, there's not a ton of places to go. The track opens up in some spots, but tightens back up in others, and it almost feels like a street course at times. Of course, compared to this evening, it'll feel like it's wide open, but how do you attack a place like that from a driver perspective?
Very carefully, especially considering that some of that I'm actually serious too, because I always forget the complex turns and the complex name, and I'll see if I can very subtly stall for time here while I look. But in the meantime, it's it's at least it's a lot better than Belle Isle. And one reason why I'm looking forward to a lot better than Belle Isle is because there's not walls surrounding every single section of the track. So I have a little bit of leeway, essentially. The corners I'm thinking about are turns 9 and turn 10, Aqua Minerale. Now that I say that out loud and read that, that makes a lot more sense. It's the downhill section into turn 9, and then the essentially 90-degree right-hander, if not more than that, of turn 10, which goes back uphill. That is at the same time, it's a simultaneously fun and scary portion of the circuit. But it's something that, if you get that right, it is utterly satisfying.
That it is, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what everybody in the field can do next week. A really stellar course to go to for round 2, really for any round for that matter. Barber is going to be a lot of fun for race number 3 on May 11th, then a 2-week prep period, if you will, for Rudskogen Motor Center as we head off to Norway for the first time ever on Pit Stop TV and in the North American Racing League. That's going to be a lot of fun. Monza round 5 combined without chicanes, then Interlagos, Germany, and Sebring to close things out. That'll do it as far as on-track action this evening here at the North American Racing League opening round at Detroit Belle Isle. Once again, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks to our partners with this series. Of course, Infinite Racing Services, Moradness, M Squad, JS Consulting, and Screw Compressor Service. A big shout out to those joining me on the broadcast this evening. Gary Weaver, Emerson Arden joining me for the call and for social media by the end of things. And a big shout out as well to JP Costa here for the amateur race earlier on, and hopefully in a much larger capacity once again for the rest of this season. Let's quickly take a look at some upcoming broadcasts for us here at Pit Stop TV before we say goodnight. First up, Sunday afternoon, we go racing in Japan, Okayama International Circuit, somewhere. In fact, the opening round for last season of Porsche Cup Racing here in the North American Racing League at Okayama, 1:30 Eastern on Sunday afternoon, April 30th. Then Monday, we have iRacing Cars Late Model Stock Tour action brought to you by Elite Performance Industries at Hickory Motor Speedway, right down the road for me, home track at this point. Very cool to have some racing there on Monday evening before, hey, look at that. We've got Kansas Speedway. It is the final round before we determine a championship for the Untitled Friend League Elite Series. And Gary, storylines aplenty over there. There's so much we could talk about. So little time to explain it now, but you just got to tune in.
Yeah, it's basically one of those things of there's one person locked in going into Kansas, and Kansas is the second to last race before the season finale the week after Kansas at Charlotte. So it's one of those you just have to be there kind of things.
Well, go ahead and follow on Pit Stop TV social media all over the place. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. You see the links all down there for you. Instagram and Twitch have the same username, same link. Just change out Instagram.com for Twitch.tv. Of course, Facebook.com/PitStopTV, Twitter.com/PitStopTV, YouTube.com/C/PitStopTV1. Now that I got that out of the way, again, thank you all so much for watching. It really is appreciated. The North American Racing League is consistently our top league here at Pit Stop TV for a reason, and all of you guys watching make it what it is, along with the drivers on the racetrack that bring us this drama week in, week out. Wouldn't have it any other way. So glad this series is back on Thursday evenings. We will see you next week at Imola in Italy for round number 2. Can't wait to get there. This has been a lot of fun. A big thank you, a big mention, I suppose, to our partners and those who make it happen for us at Pit Stop TV, inaudio.org, appgeneering.com, ATVO, Whiplash Media, SimCams, Open Broadcaster Software, OBS, and iRacing.com. Once again, that is it for us here at Pit Stop TV. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV. I've got Gary Weaver alongside Emerson Arden on social media, and JP Costa joined me earlier in the day. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you next week in Italy.
My name is Scott Reister. I'm the creator of North American Racing League, also a NARL Porsche Cup driver, broadcasted live by Pit Stop TV.
Hi, my name is John Sedlak, and I race for Firelight Esports in North American Racing League. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/diesel_dad.
Hello, I am Dino Filippa, sim racer from Argentina, current champion, and I will be competing in the championship for the ERS team and also providing the data for each race for the participant drivers.
Hey guys, I'm Marco Saavedra, and I'm a NARL Porsche Cup driver representing Infinite Racing Services. I'm a race winner and multiple podium finisher on the last NARL GT3 season, so I'll be working to get even better results this championship on a different car. See you all on track.
Hi guys, I am Ricardo Rico from Spain. I drive with Zenith Esports and I will be doing this Porsche Cup season in the North American Racing League. I hope you can catch with us on the Pit Stop TV broadcast and we will try to give you a good show. See ya!
Hi, my name is Lyubov. I'm full-time streamer, content creator, ambassador for Master and Excel Racing. And also, I'm North American Racing League Porsche Cup driver.
Hey guys, my name's Ryan Kerr. Looking forward to racing in NARL, broadcast by Pit Stop TV again this season. This time in the pro category after last season's good result. Racing again with Miranda's. Looking forward to seeing everybody out on track.
Hi, my name is David Schwartz. I'm 36 years old. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm representing the Miranda's M Squad. In real life, I'm the 2018 D Street Las Vegas region autocross champion, also an STCA time trial winner, and I've been sim racing for about 6 years.
Hi, I am Dalton Zavidal, driver for SimCity Racing and North American Racing League Porsche Cup driver. I am the 2021 Colorado Karting Tour iRacing Winter Series champion and the 2022 Season 1 Porsche Cup Pro-Am champion.
Olá, meu nome é Jackson Rezende, faço parte da Texaco Race by TK e sou piloto da North American Race League Porsche Cup.
Hey guys, Bruno Do Carmo here from Texaco Racing by TK, Pro World Championship license back in 2017, and now I'm a North American Racing League Porsche Cup driver.
Hello guys, my name is Gustavo Ariel and I'm Texaco Racing by Tony Canan driver and I'll be driving on the North American Racing League Porsche Cup Championship. Let's go.